What's going on, people? This is Kiss Shardy Gaming Nation in the building. As the title says, Jamaican blacks must separate. We have never truly been never we were never truly welcomed into black culture. Now, this back and forth between FBAs and Jamaican blacks and FBAs making the claim that they were so loving and accepting of Jamaican blacks into their culture, that's a lie. And now it's to the point where they're trying to blame us for their bullshit and have us take on the sins that they created in their own space. Well, as a proud Jamaican myself, born in America, East New York, Brooklyn, this is what I gotta say to y'all. For far too long, we've tried to blend into a culture that never fully accepted us. We bent our tongues, trimmed our accent, muted our drums just to fit into black America that looked at us as strangers, like foreign blacks. They called us banana boat kids, mocked the way we spoke, called our music coconut music, said we danced funny. We weren't black. We were exotic black, too proud, too loud, too different. And yet, when it's time to share the blame for what's wrong in black America, suddenly we get named. Suddenly it's our fault that Freaknik got wild. All fault that gang culture spread. All fault that women like Ice Spice and Sexy Red got the mic. Let's be clear, we didn't birth this culture. We didn't start drugs or glorify pimping or turn dysfunction into identity. That was your doing, Black America, to yourselves. Don't pin that on Jamaican niggas. Our roots are deep. We come from warriors, from Maroons, from Garvey, from people who never let the whip define them. Jamaicans, we never allowed slavery and the whip that we underwent for that 300 years to define who we were as Jamaicans. We fought our battles, we overcome and we won. And we said, we're going to grind to be a better people, to have dignity in ourselves. We didn't let slavery define who we were as a Jamaican people or as our culture, as our identity. And while we stood beside you, Black Americans, we marched with you, with your music and the struggle, we were never really invited into your culture. You only used us to help you fight your battles, but you really never accepted us for who we were and our identity and our culture. You made fun of us. And now, in 2025, FBA is jumping out there as if we interjected and we infected your culture with the bullshit that's there. And because you can no longer let Black American men are not going to allow themselves to eat the sins of Black culture. Black women can't get away with casting their sins upon Black men. You can't keep maintaining the victimhood mentality within Black American culture. You can't keep blaming the white man for your bullshit. You have to find somebody else to hate, somebody else to cast your demons and your devils and your sins that you casted upon yourself and engaged into on. And now you're picking at somebody who you used to pick at before. This is white America and Americans. This is not the first time Black Americans or FBA had an issue with Jamaican blacks. They've been had an issue with us since the early 1920s, and I'm going to break that down today. However, I am not going to sit back and allow FBA niggas or Black American niggas to bully Caribbean niggas. I'm not going to sit back and allow that. I'm not going to make you, Black American niggas, make Jamaican niggas become your new sin eaters. And a lot of you Jamaicans, you're allowing yourself to get bullied by FBA because you're afraid Tariq Nasheed gonna make a fucking puppet. Hustling both of y'all. This nigga has a whole museum to honor Black American fights But he turned it into a strip club. But Jamaican niggas is the problem. Let's get it. Jamaican blacks must separate. We were never truly welcomed into Black American culture. Let's get into it. All right. Terms and stereotype used. We were called banana boats, coconut, monkey chasers, coconut music. The terms weren't affectionate. They were used to mock accent culture music like reggae, dancehall, and even food. Jamaicans and other West Indians were often portrayed as other or foreign, not as regular black or real black. If you watch a series by the name of Luke Cage, season 2, where we had the Jamaicans in there with Bushmaster, it shows you in that second season the little beef and the conflict between Caribbean blacks and Black Americans in season 2. Go check that out, right? And there's a lot of symbology broken down into that second season. Cultural alienation. Many Jamaican kids growing up in the U.S. were pressured to hide their accents, avoid traditional foods at school, or downplay their heritage to fit in with African American peers. Caribbean students were often bullied or mocked for the way they dress, spoke, or the music they listened to. In a documentary called The Dark Side of the Ring, Kimbo Slice's parents talked about how when they first got here to America, because Kimbo Slice, for those who don't know, he's Bohemian. Kimbo Slice, technically, according to you FBA niggas, is a tether. And Kimbo Slice was knocking you FBA niggas out. Bam, bam, bam. Right? Kimbo Slice's parents in that documentary said that when they first got to America and Florida, Black Americans used to pick on them about their accent and the way they talk. A lot of Caribbean blacks can resonate with that, including myself. Because my parents, they came here in the 80s. So I guess I would be like a third generation immigrant, not immigrant, but born here in America. Because I'm born here in America, East New York, Brooklyn, Kings County, Brookdale Hospital and shit. Monkey chaser. The term monkey chaser was a derogatory label historically used by some Black Americans to mock Caribbean immigrants, particularly during the 20th century. This slur targeted the West Indians for their distinct accents, cultural practices, and perceived foreignness. According to the Yale curriculum unit on the Harlem Renaissance, Caribbean immigrants are often ridiculed with names like monkey chaser, ringtail, kin moon, and kokanee. Such hostility led West Indians to form defense organizations to ease tensions with African American. FBA love to jump on here and talk about how certain names, how white people would make fun of them for eating watermelon, grape soda, Kool-Aid, and all that shit. But Black Americans were racist towards other groups of Black people, Caribbean blacks. And this is during the Harlem Renaissance. So why is these FBA getting up here lying and saying that they accepted Caribbean blacks into the culture when they didn't? And mind you, the Harlem Renaissance is all about pro-black. This is during the days of Marcus Garvey, right? The term monkey chaser reflects broader patterns of inter-black prejudice and cultural gatekeeping. Despite shared African ancestry, the common struggles against racism, Caribbean immigrants were often viewed as outsiders by native-born Black Americans. This dynamic underscores the complexities of Black identity in the United States and the challenges faced by Caribbean blacks in navigating cultural acceptance. Under historical usage of the term like monkey chaser is crucial in acknowledging and addressing the nuanced forms of discrimination within Black diaspora. So, bro, for those of you in the comment section, right? A lot of Caribbean blacks can attest to that. Like, for example, the Nigerians, right? A lot of FBA is saying, well, they call them akata or cotton pickers. Well, Black Americans used to call African niggas African booty scratchers. They used to pick on Haitian niggas too. right? This is why Haitians had to form something called a Zopound in Florida. And a lot of Jamaican niggas out here in East New York, Brooklyn, the only way Black Americans truly respected us is because during the 80s and the 90s when Jamaican niggas got violent. We call what all the Shaw posses and the Jamaican gangs came in. And we had to get violent with Black Americans to show we ain't playing. I'm 33 years old, so I'm born in 1992. I remember them days. Fuck is burning. Anyway, let's continue. Social integration. While there were individual friendships and shared struggles, especially in urban areas, social and cultural gatekeeping did exist. Black American culture set standards for what was considered black in the mainstream U.S. society and Caribbean culture. And Caribbean culture is also often seen as weird to African. Oh, weird to African are not cool until aspects of it like reggae, dancehall, patois slang were later appropriated. In other words, what's that saying is that Caribbean blacks, like the Cool Hercs, they had to assimilate themselves within Black American culture to be accepted. Cool Hercs, the Uncle Lukes, and these people. So when FBA talk about how Caribbean niggas influenced FBA music, that's a lie. Because in order for Caribbean blacks to influence your music, you have to have accepted their Caribbeanness or their Caribbean culture, but you didn't accept their culture. You saw their culture as weird. So you didn't allow or you didn't listen to their music for their music to influence you. Instead, Kool Herc had to assimilate himself into Black American culture. So Kool Herc, what he did was he took what was already there in Black American culture and created a new a column into hip hop. So he took what was already there in Black American culture and Black American music. And that's exactly, this is another point, right? Black Americans, they set the standards for how Caribbean culture had to be appropriated into their stuff. And guess what? I agree with it. You know why? Because at the end of the day, we're Caribbean blacks coming into Black American culture, and technically it's their house. You know what I'm saying? But really and truly, Caribbean blacks, I don't think we were coming into Black American culture. We were just coming for the American dream. You understand? And it just so happens that we were positioned where Black Americans were congregated in. So it's like we were forced to be amongst them, right? Because you got to remember during the 1920s and even during the 60s and the 70s, white people didn't like Jamaican niggas either. So we weren't accepted by white people and we were not accepted by Black American culture. So it was either it's like Jamaican blacks or Caribbean blacks. We had to hide ourselves from Black Americans and the white society, and we had to adopt. It's like we had to. Is either we had to assimilate in both cultures or die, basically, and hide ourselves from both. So that's two struggles. At one point, as a Jamaican, you're coming from one struggle country, a third world country, to come to America, thinking that you're gonna find brotherhood amongst Black Americans, but then now you have to hide yourself to them because they don't accept you or like you. Then you have to navigate with white people, and they don't like you either. Let's go. Let's keep going. Academic and cultural research. Studies and historical accounts confirm that Caribbean immigrants face both white racism and intra-black discrimination. While they often admired Black American civil rights struggles, they were not always welcomed with open arms. I used to hear how Black Americans used to say, this is before FBA shit, like Black Americans used to say that the civil rights movement was not meant for Caribbean blacks. Tensions included competition for resources, jobs, and cultural leadership, leading to mistrust or stereotypes on both sides. Now, you always hear Black Americans complain about how Jamaicans used to take up all the jobs. So Jamaicans at one point in American culture were the Mexicans of Black culture, because Jamaicans, they would work like 3 or 4 or 5 jobs to hustle and grind to make money to support themselves here in America and send that money back home, back to Jamaica. But you can't get mad at Jamaicans for their hustle. And it's not that the jobs were not available to Black Americans. They were available to you. You just didn't take them. There were jobs that y'all didn't want. Conclusion. Historically speaking, Black Americans did not universally accept Jamaican blacks as fully Black Americans. There was a cultural line drawn. Some unity emerged through music, political causes, and shared oppression, but full cultural integration, that took time and is still evolving. What that means is that you had groups like the Nation of Islam, because Minister Farrakhan, he's Trinidadian, I think, right? And you have to remember, a lot of the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, they were influenced by Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was Jamaican. And then you have a lot of Hebrew Israelites that see all of the brothers of the diaspora as part of the tribes, right? So you had a couple groups, pro-Black groups, that accepted Caribbean blacks as being Black. But in general, as Black America, they did not accept us into their culture. They liked our music, they liked our food, they like our women. They get mad when we fuck their Black American women, but they love fucking our Jamaican women. All right. So that's that first slide right there. Burton Edwards, I kind of disagree with that, right? Because I believe that a lot of Caribbean blacks were already here in the Americas, and same goes for Black America, right? I think a lot of the Caribbean blacks that are in the islands, they're the extension of the blacks that are in America, and the African blacks that they brought here, they just got mixed in with everything. So you got to remember, you got slave ships going back and forth into the Americas, back into the Caribbeans, and this, that, and the fourth. And I might show that in this slide, right? Or show that during this live, right? The history of that. Okay. You always talk about some Messiah gathering people. Huh. Okay, that's cool. Well, let's go here, right? What my next slide I'm going to present here. Go key. The lies told on Jamaican niggas by peace, brother. By FBA. Lies told by FBA about Jamaicans. Misconceptions. Jamaicans and Caribbean blacks didn't go through slavery like Black Americans. So they're really not Black like us. And you know what? That song that Kendrick Lamar sung, They're Not Like Us. A lot of Black Americans on YouTube, they're saying that Caribbean blacks were not like them. And I fucking wholeheartedly agree. Jamaican blacks, we're not like you, Black Americans. We're not like you because you never accepted us to be like you. Historical facts. Slavery in the Caribbean was brutal and long-lasting. Jamaica was a major hub of transatlantic slave trade under British rule. Slavery began on the islands around 1650s and continued until 1838 with the British Emancipation Act. That's nearly 200 years of brutal plantation slavery. sugarcane fields, and one of the highest mortality rates among enslaved people in the Western Hemisphere. Jamaica went through one hell of a slavery, right? I'm about to go through Haiti right now, I think. Yeah, Haiti's legacy. Haiti was the richest colony in the world under French rule due to sugar slavery. Haitians not only went through slavery, they fought and won the only successful slave revolt in history, defeating Napoleon's army and becoming the first black republic in 1804. Haitian slaves endured extreme torture, including public execution and mass killings. So big up to Haiti. And those who know the history, there was a Jamaican by the name of Bookman, who was a voodoo priest that sailed by a boat to Haiti to help them in their Haitian revolution. Go do that history, right? So both Jamaicans and Haitians faced a brutal slavery, worse than Black Americans. But we're not the same like you because we didn't go to slavery like you did. And there's a reason why they're saying that. There's a reason why they're saying that. I'm going to why they're saying that. It's like Black Americans, and it has something to do with reparations, because Black Americans in America, they trying to, get reparations based on lineage base, which I agree. I agree that reparations for Black Americans should be for Black Americans. It should not be for Caribbean Blacks. So Caribbean Blacks, reparations for Black Americans is for reparations for Black Americans, not you, not me. Our reparations should come from the British Crown. You see what I'm saying? So y'all got to see that logic in that, right? But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and pretend like there's not some type of animosity hidden with Black Americans towards Jamaicans. Y'all just hiding under reparation argument. You're hiding under the hip hop argument. You're hiding your hate under these different arguments. And you're using reparations and you're using hip hop to justify your hatred towards us. Just come out and say you never liked us from the beginning. You didn't agree with us, and you thought we were weird. You didn't want us to be in your culture. Just fucking say that. But however, I am not going to sit back and allow the Caribbean Blacks to become the new sin eaters for Black culture. I'm not going to do it. Yo, DVB, if you don't like what the fuck I'm talking about, get the fuck out my chat, bitch nigga. You don't like what I'm talking about, leave. There's a lot of niggas on YouTube that should be touching grass. Why you not touching grass? Why you in my comment section talking to me, DVB? You in my comment section is wild, DVB. Matter of fact, I'm just going to block you. Yeah, ban you. I'm going to ban you from the channel. I'm cool with disagreements and debates, but fuck you like that gets banned. You don't like what I'm saying, go to somebody else's channel. Or have a logical disagreement. Jeez. Matter of fact, I'm going to post a link. I'll post a link up there. Link is up there. Slavery was global in the African diaspora. The transatlantic slave trade affected the Caribbean, Brazil, Latin America, and the U.S. Most Africans were shipped to the Caribbean and South America, then to North America. Only about 5% of the enslaved Africans ended up in the United States. About 35% went to the Caribbean. Brazil alone received over 40%. So most of the slaves was in the Caribbean. Only 5% of the enslaved Africans ended up in the United States. So that justifies the FBA argument that says that there were more blacks that were originally here in the Americas. So it could be, that maybe a small percentage of the slaves got mixed in with the FBA. So that could justify the argument, right? Which I don't disagree with that. Don't come in my damn comment section telling me what I can't talk about to go touch grass. I'm gonna touch your mama. You know what? What's the myth? What's the why this myth persists? Black American culture identity has been heavily shaped by Pacific traumas of chattel slavery in the U.S., Jim Crow, segregation, and systematic racism. Caribbean immigrants sometimes didn't identify with those experiences exactly and were seen as not having paid their dues. What does that mean? That means that because Caribbean blacks in Jamaica, a lot of our oppressors were not just white. A lot of our oppressors had black faces too. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to remember the Rastafarian community, they dealt with some bullshit by the Christian state that the Christian state had black faces in it. See what I'm saying? A lot of the police force had black faces in Jamaica, right? And so it's like when Jamaicans come here and they see what black Americans going through in a white dominant system, it's like hard for them to see what that experience is. And black Americans feel as if like Caribbean blacks didn't pay their dues, but look at that Jim Crow segregation and systematic racism. You got to remember, Jamaican blacks has been here since or Caribbean blacks in general have been here since the 1600s. I believe it was a Haitian brother that founded Chicago, right? And I believe it was somebody, a Caribbean brother, who started the Negro Masons. For those who don't know, it was a Caribbean brother, I think from Barbados, that started the Negro Masons, African Lodge number 1 and number 2. And those lodges helped a lot of slave rebellions here in the Americas. So Caribbean niggas have been here. You got to remember, a lot of Haitian niggas on the South, on Louisiana, New Orleans, and those places, they were around during Jim Crow and segregation. Go do your history. See, the reason why I'm doing this, Laura, is because there's lies being told, and if we keep letting the lie continue, it's gonna stick to be the truth. And what I see a lot of FBAs doing on YouTube and social media, and why I disagree with DVB is because when you go to your movie theater, you're looking on your phone. When you're at your job, you're looking at your phone. When I'm on this PC, I'm looking at my phone at the same time. When I'm every day, you're looking into your phone. Your phone, you're in your bathroom, shitting on your toilet, you're looking on your phone. So social media, even when you're touching grass, is part of your life. It's an influence, right? So if you have FBA out here telling lies about how how Caribbean blacks um brung a lot of debauchery into their culture, and I let that stick, and we let that stick, it's going to become the truth. See, what happens is that Black Americans who are call themselves FBA, and there's a hidden hand going on, right? Tariq Nasheed, he's just a mouthpiece of that hidden hand. What's going on is that there's a hierarchy shift going on, and there's Black Americans who want to be in. If you watch that movie, Jamie Foxx is in it. I forgot what it's called. Burrington Enworth. You tell me. What do you mean, blah blah blah? You don't see FBA going at Jamaican niggas on the internet. You haven't experienced. You haven't been here. You're a professor in black culture. Oh no. This needs to happen. Your Bible says God is going to come back with a sword to divide shit. This needs to happen. Moving forward, this needs to happen. This happened before, because like what y'all don't understand, this happened before. This has happened before in the 90s. I'm old enough to remember this, right? And if we keep letting people get away with the lie, it's going to become the truth. Hey, listen, you talking about? Listen, let me tell you something. The Irish fought the English. The Scottish fought the Remember, I forgot who it was. If you watch Braveheart, with the Scots or something versus the Scots, go look up all those European wars that they had amongst each other. This has to happen. What? So let me explain what's going on. Right? There's a Boule group of blacks in the FBA culture, and there's a Boule group of blacks in the different African diaspora cultures. There's a Boule group of blacks amongst Jamaicans, Haitians, Trinidadians, Black Americans, and Africans. I can see them. I can sense them. I can sense them in my community, in my neighborhoods, right? Um, so what's happening now is Black Americans, the Boule people of Black Americans, they're trying to bully Jamaican niggas. And what happened is that because Jamaican niggas have a spirit to fight back and not take the bullying, they don't like that. And I'm gonna show you another reason why they don't like the real reason why they don't like Jamaican niggas. I'm gonna show that. But let's continue through the slides, right? Let's go here. Um, Caribbean immigrants sometimes didn't identify with those experiences. Oh, I read that already. Why is it dangerous? This is what you're talking about, brother. It divides the global black diaspora, creating unnecessary hierarchies of suffering. It erases the shared pain and distinct between parallel legacies of oppression. It denies Caribbean blacks and their black identity based on false historical claims. Now, my thing is that Jamaicans and Haitian niggas, we were able to not allow slavery to define our identity. And we fought that. And my thing is that black diaspora, y'all gotta move fucking past the suffering shit. Slavery shit and what the white man did to you. Jamaican niggas understood this. Haitian niggas understood this. This is why we getting successful. Black Americans, when you gonna understand it. This is why y'all didn't like Marcus Garvey. Because Marcus Garvey wasn't gonna preach that slave shit. Sit on your ass and take your ass whooping shit. That's why y'all didn't like Malcolm X or Minister Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad. Because they told you step your game up. And there's so much running through my brain, and I have ADHD, so it's hard for me to piece them together, right? Marcus Garvey was a capitalist, straight up. And Marcus Garvey tried to show people black liberation to economic and capital gains. And Marcus Garvey was against communism, right? What you have is that W.E. Du Bois and a section of black Americans, or FBA at the time, or black Americans at the time, they were communists and they liked Marxism. So Marxism says, I go against the black patriarchal family. Capitalism, the Marcus Garvey, that promotes black families. So that shit started then. That's why they didn't like Marcus Garvey, or they reject certain things about the Nation of Islam or the NOI. Because a lot of Marxism, this is where a lot of that LGBT stuff come from. This is where a lot of debaucherousness come from. It's a lot of shit. I'm not gonna get into that into this one, right? The truth. Caribbean blacks are unquestionably black, both by lineage and by the shared trauma of slavery. I hate that shit. Shared trauma of slavery. When we gonna get over the damn slavery trauma shit? And I think that's why black Americans don't like Jamaicans, because we're not sitting in the trauma. The experience wasn't identical, but it was real, brutal generationally, and still affecting Caribbean societies today. Music. So this is where they blame Uncle Luke for, because Uncle Luke has Caribbean roots, they're blaming him for Freaknik and shit, right? Luther Campbell, known as Uncle Luke, is often associated with Miami bass music, and the group Two Live Crew, which gained notoriety in the late 1980s and early 1990s for their explicit lyrics. While some of his musical influence may have Caribbean roots, Campbell himself is an American artist who emerged from the Miami music scene. His work, including the promotion of the events like Freaknik, played a role in shaping certain aspects of hip hop culture, but attributing to the rise of explicit content solely to him or Caribbean influence is a misrepresentation. Remember, you had Southern niggas from the Midwest, like I can't think of their names right now, that was preaching shit worse than Uncle Luke. And Uncle Luke, he just facilitated what was already in Black American culture. That's it. And if you're saying that FBA influenced the world, how you know that FBA didn't influence Jamaican niggas with this debauchery? And Jamaican niggas just adapted to that debauchery to fit into your culture. Ever thought about that? Yeah, but see, the thing is, Laura and Barrington, like I said earlier, this shit gotta be challenged. And I'm not feeding into anything. See, when FBA do it, I don't see none of y'all in their comment section talking about they being divisive. But as soon as I say Jamaican niggas need to separate from their culture, it's divisive. But when they talking about we not like, they're not. You have Black Americans using "Not Like Us" from Kendrick Lamar to say Caribbean niggas is not like them. But that's not divisive. I'm agreeing to it and saying Jamaicans must separate, but I'm being divisive. Like, come on. I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you why. Hold on. I'm gonna show you why. Let's go here. Historical precedents of explicit themes in Black American music. Long before Luke's emergence, Black American artists were exploring themes of sexuality and other adult topics in their music. Lucille Bogan in the 1930s. Bogan recorded songs with explicit content such as Shave 'Em Dry, which contained candid reference to sexual acts. I even put the sources there. Miss Rainey, known as the mother of blues. Rainey's early 20th century work often delved into themes of sexuality and personal freedom. Millie Jackson in the 1970s. Jackson's album featured explicit monologues and songs that addressed sexual topics head on. Prince, while not exclusively a hip hop artist, Prince's 1980s music was renowned for its central themes and push boundaries in mainstream music. These examples illustrate the explicit content has been a part of Black American music's musical expression for decades, reflecting a range of experiences and artistic choices. You don't think that Uncle Luke adapting to this type of culture just facilitated that? Remember, you're feeding the people what the people like, not what you want them to like or what you like. You're giving them what they want and what they like. Black American culture said by Black Americans, they did not listen to reggae music during the 70s. They didn't even like it. They didn't listen to Bob Marley during the 70s. This is what they say. They say, if you go on your YouTube, FBA niggas are saying they never listened to reggae music. They never listened to Bob Marley. So if you never listen to reggae music, how could it be that reggae music or our type of music influenced your culture if you never listened to it in the first place? Let's continue. Evolution of explicit content in hip hop. The incorporation of explicit themes in hip hop evolved over time, influenced by various artists and cultural shifts. Two Live Crew, the 1989 album, As Nasty as They Wanna Be, was the first to be deemed legally obscene, sparking debates about censorship and artistic freedom. Little Kim in mid 1990s, Little Kim's debut album, Hardcore, broke new ground for female rappers with its unbiased sexual content, influenced future artists. Pitchfork. Hey, Little Kim is FBA. Contemporary artists like Cardi B, Megan Stein's FBA, and Nicki Minaj continue this tradition. Remember, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, they pattern their style off of Little Kim, who's Little Kim is at FBA. All right. So Little Kim is influencing the Nicki Minaj, and Little Kim is at FBA. Hold on. Let me show you the culprit. Let me show you something. Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed. Wash. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me play some Tariq Nasheed. Hold on. I got you. All right, good. Let me show you something. I don't know if y'all can see this right here. This is Tariq Nasheed. This is Tariq Nasheed. Wash your ass. Look at this shit. Wash your ass. So this is Tariq Nasheed's. This is his music. All right. Wash K Flex. Wash your ass. Tariq Leak first album. K Flex. Wash your ass. Look at this. All right, Tariq Nasheed. So Tariq Nasheed, he's not influencing. Wash your look at the images. Look at this. So is Tariq Nasheed not part of influencing or help to influence Black American culture to debauchery? So was Tariq Nasheed influenced by Caribbean niggas, or was he influenced by Black Americans? Let's look at this. Pimp. The art of macking. This man is a whole pimp. Play or be played. Whole pimp player. So this is him influencing Black American culture to be pimps and players. But Jamaican niggas is the problem. All right. Let's go back to here. Where was I? Was it this? I think so. Understand the broader context. It's essential to recognize that the presence of explicit content and music is not the result of a single influence or individual. Instead, it's the culmination of various cultural, social, and artistic factors within Black American experience. Assigning blame to Caribbean artists like Uncle Luke oversimplifies this complex history and overlooks the contributions and choices of numerous Black American artists who have shaped the genre. So to only acknowledge Uncle Luke's debaucherous influence into hip hop and Black American culture is to deny the contributions of other Black Americans into the culture, which is the argument y'all make about hip hop. When y'all get mad at remember Chuck, hold on, y'all get mad at Fat Joe and Kool Herc for saying that they started hip hop, and how that takes away from the Black Americans who helped to pioneer hip hop. But at the same time, you only acknowledge Uncle Luke for the debauchery, but you don't acknowledge the other Black Americans of that time that added to the debauchery. Make that make sense. Shout out to Tommy Sotomayor, right? Conclusion: the narrative that Caribbean artists are solely responsible for the explicit themes in hip hop is historically inaccurate. Black American music has a rich tradition of exploring adult themes, and the evolution of hip hop reflects a tapestry of influences and expressions. Recognizing this complexity allows for a more nuanced understanding of the genre's development and the diverse voices that have contributed to its richness. If you're also right, so go off to that full screen. Let's now. I want to present something else from studio. Turn that like this. Upload a file. Let's show you. So they also blame. So let me do this. Remember that series called Luke Cage that I was talking about earlier? Let me show y'all this. Key TV references, right? That mirror real tensions between Jamaicans and Black American communities. Jamaican identity versus Black American identity. This is from the series Luke Cage, season 2. Bushmaster, the central antagonist, is a Jamaican. He represents Caribbean revolutionary spirit, spiritual, ancestral, deeply connected to tradition and vengeance. His speech, accent, and ideology often alienate him from Harlem's residents, who are largely Black American. He sees Mariah Dillard, a Black American, not just as corrupt, but as having betrayed Blackness and the ancestral line by selling out Harlem for political gain. Real parallel. Caribbean immigrants are often sometimes seen as too foreign, too radical, or not Black. In the American sense, on the flip side, Black Americans have sometimes viewed Caribbean Blacks as arrogant, separatist, or cultural out of touch, even though both share the same root of African struggle. Right? Now, with Jamaican Blacks, right, because of what we went through in Jamaica, we have a very spiritual, rebellious mentality and revolutionary spirit. So it's like when we come to America and we see Black Americans and they don't have that same spirit on them, it's like, yo. And then we see Black Americans falling into certain debauchery or whatever. It's like, from our spectacle, our lens is like, y'all not rebelling enough. Y'all not fighting against the system enough. What Jamaicans need to recognize is that Black Americans have been fighting the system. They have been going to war and fighting a lot of battles, right? Black Americans need to recognize that Jamaican niggas, they didn't go through this. They went through slavery, a brutal one, but they're not seeing it from your spectacle or your lens. They're coming to America and seeing an opportunity, right? And it's like, you have opportunities too, but you're not taking advantage of those opportunities. Right. So it's like both people need to sit down. There was even a part in Luke Cage where the auntie, when Luke Cage, who was Black American, and Bushmaster, who was Jamaican, they got together at one point, and the auntie was like, yo, y'all need to sit down and talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. So it's like there's a misunderstanding between both sides of the fence. I will agree to that. But it's like Black Americans are the ones showing the hostility. And then when Jamaican niggas show hostility back to it now, we're viewed as, okay, we the villains after that now. But we just defending ourselves. Real world parallel. So I already read that. No, this was in the scene, right? Hold on. Go back. You need a Black American Black. Identity, politics, and crime and power. In the meeting scene that I referenced, season 2, episode 5, Mariah Dillard and Shays meet with a Cuban, a Jamaican, and a Black American crime boss. The Black American man argues that if Harlem is to be controlled, it must be someone who looks, speaks, and behaves like the locals, meaning Black American, not a gun-smoking Black, i.e. Jamaican with violent rep, or cigar-smoking Black, likely referring to Latino like the Cuban. This line is full of coded language and cultural bias. Gun-smoking Black equals violent, irrational Caribbean stereotype. Cigar-smoking Black equals foreign, luxury, Latin elitism. Black American Black, the authentic Harlem native who gets the people. So in that Luke Cage series, the Black American created that separation. And what's so funny is that Mariah Dillard's mother she has Caribbean roots with her mother. That's what's funny about it. That was the whole beef between Bushmaster and Mariah Dillard. Mariah Dillard had Jamaican ancestry. Go watch the series, right? We're both parallel. This reflects how some Black Americans have historically felt territorial over Black identity in America, viewing Caribbeans as outsiders or beneficiaries of their struggle without sharing the same burden. Example: Jim Crow, civil rights, and police brutality in the U.S. Now, I could agree to that. That Jamaicans didn't share Jim Crow or civil rights or police brutality. Which is funny is because Minister Farrakhan is Caribbean. A lot of the Nation of Islam is Caribbean. Marcus Garvey is Jamaican, and he was here in the early 19th century. So what? So I don't understand. Just say you didn't want us to be part of your culture, bro. Bushmaster versus Mariah politics. Bushmaster holds deep generational pain over what Mariah's family did to his. How her mother, Mabel Stokes, stole her family's legacy and exploited the Jamaican side of the family. Mariah, on the other hand, embraces respectability, politics, and denies her own Caribbean ancestry. Her mother was Jamaican. This split creates a powerful metaphor. One side, Bushmasters rooted in African Caribbean struggle and vengeance. The other, Mariah, in upward mobility and assimilation through American politics, political structures. Real world parallel. Many Caribbean families who migrate to the U.S. bring strong cultural identities and pride, but often face erasure or suspicion from Black Americans who don't fully embrace them. Some Caribbeans look down on Black Americans as lacking cultural discipline or historical grounding. That's very true. A lot of Caribbean Blacks have a lot of pride in their culture and their identity and in their nationality. And I don't know what made those Caribbeans of that time look at Black Americans like that. Because Black Americans at the time did have culture. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie like FBA. They did have a culture. They did have an identity. They did have a historical grounding. They did have discipline. So I don't know where that thought came from. Maybe somebody older than me can school me on that. Right. Final thought. What Luke Cage does well is not take sides, but instead shows how deep and unresolved these cultural tensions are. How both sides feel erased, undervalued, and disrespected by the other. Bushmaster and Mariah are two sides of the same moon. Disconnected descendants of African diaspora, fighting over who gets to define Black power, pain, and leadership. And that's what it is. Black Americans want to be the only one to define what's Black and what's Black identity. They don't want Jamaicans to define it. They don't want Haitians to define it. Black Americans want the monopoly and the power to define what Black is. And that's not fair to Jamaican Blacks. That's not fair to Haitian Blacks. That's not fair to Caribbean Blacks. Because to deny them is to deny crucial pieces of Black identity in the Black diaspora. What you can say is that you have by now we should know that Black is part of a caste system. You shouldn't be using that. But for the lack of a better term, Black is an empire. Jamaican, Black American, Haitian, these are different tribes of that empire. And to deny Jamaican, Haitians, and other Caribbeans identity, adding their identity to the pot, is to deny pieces of the empire that you have. And that's not fair. Um, so all that is that Black Americans want to be able to be the only ones to what you call define what Black is and Black identity is. And what Black culture is defining what Black identity is sexy red. It's gang banging and thugging. The unspoken Negro construct where Black woman is God. And I think because Jamaicans, on the other hand, are still conservative and still patriarchal, it doesn't align up with the unspoken Negro contract where they're more matriarchal, more female minded. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you, brother. You get to define who you are. Okay, you GBA or FBA. You're allowed to define your name and your nationality. Which is funny is because Marcus Garvey told you that. Marcus Garvey taught y'all about science and government. And then Noble Drew Ali, who was inspired by Marcus Garvey, taught y'all about nationalizing yourself. So a lot of y'all get y'all shit from Marcus Garvey or Jamaican, but you don't want to recognize it. Uh. Boulay Maguire. Boulay Maguire. That's the lie that I'm addressing. What I'm addressing is that Black Americans, you never accepted Caribbean blacks into your culture. I don't know if you was here for the first part of the stream. I'm gonna show. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. Hold on. I got you, homie. I got you, homie. I got you, homie. Uh, Black Americans used to call us banana boats, coconut music, monkey chasers. Right? Many Jamaican kids growing up in the U.S. were pressured to hide their accent, avoid traditional foods at school, or downplay their heritage to fit in with African American peers because African Americans used to bully Jamaican niggas. And you hear FBA say it on it in these videos on YouTube. Caribbean students were often bullied and mocked for the way they dressed, spoke, or the music they listened to. Monkey chaser was a derogatory label used by some Black Americans to mock Caribbean immigrants, particularly during the early 20th century. This slur targeted West Indians for their distinct accents, cultural practices, and perceived foreignness. According to Yale curriculum until unit on the Harlem Renaissance, Caribbean immigrants were often ridiculed with the names like Monkey Chaser, Ringtail, Kin Moon, and Kokanee. Such hostility led West Indians to form defense organizations to ease tensions with the African American communities. So, Boulay Maguire, I hope your black ass is still in here. Cap. It's not cap. This is information you can go look up yourself. Well, I'm glad that you love the differences, but no, I'm gonna address Boulay Maguire. I could post a link in here, Maguire. You can step up here and debunk me. Hold on, I got you. What do you mean get up to speed? In 2025, FBA of talking shit about Jamaican niggas. What you mean up to speed? I am up to speed. The lies that I'm addressing is what Boulay Maguire up there talking about. I don't know if you saw it. Boulay Maguire, this is what he said. What you're seeing now is Black Americans waking up to the fact that Africans and Caribbeans have a problem with us. We are being reactive, but let's be honest, everyone knows who's most defined blackness. Didn't I just say that Black Americans want to be the only ones to define what blackness is? Hold on, now that you said that, AK 2020, my grandmother is Taino. Yes, my grandmother's Taino. A lot of my family on my mother's side is either Maroon or Taino. Same with my father. So I'm very indigenous to this landmass called North America or Turtle Island. Boulay Maguire, I am addressing the fact that you Black Americans never accepted Jamaican blacks into your culture since the early 1900s. This was the slurs that you referred to the Jamaican blacks. Coconut music. What you talking about? The Tainos and the Arawaks, right? They used to have tradings between the Native American tribes here and in the Caribbean. What's going on, Malik Bay? What you gotta tell me what happened between all cultures. See what I mean? Jamaicans are pretty influential too. I hope you know that. You have a whole dancehall subculture in Japan, China, and various parts of this planet. Bob Marley is very influential around the world. Reggae music is very influential around the world. So why is it that Black Americans get to be the only one to define blackness? What do you mean Jamaicans is not from here? This is called North America. North America includes Jamaica, Haiti, and so guess what then? Whenever it comes up that Haiti is the first Black republic, remember, Haiti is not part of the Americas. No, I agree with you. So Haiti, who's also not part of of here, they're the first Black republic, but they're not part of Black America. I agree with you, AK. AK, I agree with you. Jamaica is not USA. I agree with you. So anytime when the rebellions that took place in Jamaica and the how we fought against our European slave masters and won, make sure you remember that Jamaica is not part of Black American culture or the USA. Remember that. Remember Haiti beating the French, which helped to free up New Orleans. Look up the history between Haiti and New Orleans and the Southern Belt. How are you the Maroon? The Maroons is in Jamaica. The Maroons are Jamaicans. Malik Bey, you have Bey in your name and you're Moor. So I hope you know better what you're saying. See, y'all listening to Tariq Nasheed. Oh, Jamaican. So hold on. I got you, homie. Because how was that when y'all only 13% of their country? Hold on. I got you. You're talking to somebody whose grandmother's Taino and whose father's people are Maroons. The Maroons of Jamaica, 1655 to 1796. A careful study and through the study of Jamaican Maroons from British conquest in the late 18th century, right? So the Maroons are Jamaicans. Hold on, let me hold on. Add this to stage. Move that. Add this to the stage. What are you saying? This is Jamaican Maroons here, buddy. Look, Jamaican Maroons here, buddy. See, hey, Laura, you see AK? I told you, Black Americans want to be the only one to define what black is. I told you. Anyway, Malik Bey, thank you. Let me point up Malik Bey. So if black means nothing, why do you call yourself FBA, Foundational Black American, if black means nothing? Let me continue on with the show. Oh, so let's remember this. This is what Jamaicans have to go through dealing with African Americans or Black American culture. I'm not making this up. Y'all could go look this stuff up yourself. All right. So my next presentation, move that. Let me hide this. So why do you accept it? If you understand that white supremacy created black, and why do you call yourself FBA? So y'all get upset as Jamaicans for taking ourselves away from the word black. And the reason why Jamaicans say we don't want to claim the word black because we recognize it as a European construct being part of a caste system. Black Americans get upset at Jamaican niggas for not wanting to claim it. But here you are saying, acknowledging that it means nothing, but you still claim it. Make that make sense. Anyway, let me get this up here. The other lie that is being told, and I want y'all to pay attention to this, on Jamaicans, is that we added homosexuality into the culture. That's the other lie that FBA is saying. Now you saying as a bro, whenever you catch them in a lie, they want to have unity all of a sudden. LGBT hidden in FBA music before hip hop. Since y'all want to blame Jamaican niggas for everything. Male artists hidden sexual themes, drugs, pedophilia, homosexuality, and pimp culture. Little Richard, known for wild performance, ambiguous sexuality, songs, Tutti Frutti, originally had lyrics explicitly about anal sex. Tutti Frutti, good booty. If it don't fit, don't force it. There's no black man. It's your FBA theme. Overtly homosexual content disguised through gibberish and energetic delivery. I did a show on my channel called The Serafino. What's the population of Jamaica? I got you on. Hold on, I got you. Population. Oh, Jamaica. Let's see. Jamaica. This right here. Hold on. With that, the population is 2.84 million. What's the point? Hold on. I want to show you this. Continent, North America. Look. Jamaica is part of the North American continent. So, I don't know what to do with that. But 2.8 million. Let's look at the population of Black Americans. Black Americans. Okay, 48.3 million. Your population is going to decrease if Black American women keep deleting your babies, your children. That's it. Okay, y'all more than us. Okay. Let's go back here. You are not going to distract me from what I'm about to show. This is FBA likes to blame Black or Jamaican Blacks for interjecting or adding homosexuality into their culture. But this is Little Richard. Let's go to the next one. Oh, let's not forget P. Diddy. P. Diddy's on trial right now. The biggest freak. They said that P. Diddy hired, I guess, male prostitutes to let me just be blunt. Fuck Cassie. And after when they come on Cassie, P. Diddy took the cum and rubbed it on his nipple. P. Diddy is an FBA nigga. That nigga not Jamaican. That's our nigga. Woo! Rick James. Songs, Mary Jane, Give It To Me Baby, Super Freak. Themes, drug use, sexual exploitation, prostitution. Hidden content, Mary Jane is about marijuana, but also paints a relationship with drug addicted women like a love story. Super Freak glorifies a woman who would never say no. Ooh. Prince, if I was your girlfriend, darling Nikki. Sister controversy. Themes: incest, masturbation, bisexuality, and androgyny. Notable line: incest is everything is said to be, from Sister. Hidden in plain sight, Prince used religious symbolism to confuse and disarm senses while delivering overtly sexual lyrics. D'Angelo, song entitled How Does It Feel? Themes: raw sexual energy, but also hints at androgyny in presentation. Video: male objectification was revolutionary, possibly flipping the male gaze for a reason. Sylvester, known for openly gay black disco singer. Oh, my bad. Yeah, openly gay black disco singer in the 70s and the 80s. Songs: You Make Me Feel Mighty Real. Themes: homosexual celebration and hidden queerness in disco. Context: his persona was tolerated in dance music but rarely discussed in mainstream R&B. Marvin Gaye, songs: Sexual Healing, Inner City Blues, Let's Get It On, If I Should Die Tonight. Themes: sexual addiction, exploitation, depression, hidden message, deep pain, and sexual confusion, often masked in spiritual or romantic lyricism. This is your FBA. These are not Caribbean. Teddy Pendergrass, songs: Turn Off the Lights, Close the Door, or erotic dominance masked in romantic tones. Backstory: I'm not gonna say that. Right? Oh shit! Died after a car accident while with a transgender woman. A topic never acknowledged by mainstream at the time. Well, we don't know if that's true, so I'm not going to say that's true. Right? George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic. Songs: Atomic Dog, Bop Gun, Aqua Boogie. Themes: sexual freedom, surrealism, psychedelic drugs, hidden meanings, allegories about sex, mind control, and submission, buried in futurist imagery. Yeah, listen, a lot of this stuff, themes, they're in a lot of your pro-black circles. On my channel, I did a breakdown about the Seraphina virus and how the Seraphina virus is a black woman that disguises herself as being pro-black, and she uses a lot of Marxist, communist rhetoric, but it's hidden under "I'm trying to uplift black men." And a lot of those pro-black women, they have a lot of these sexual themes hidden within how they speak, and I was always able to sense that on, right? D-Lo, down low culture. Not many artists went by the exact name in the 80s and 90s, but down low culture was famously exposed later through J.L. King's book On the Down Low. And R&B lyrics often spoke to hidden sexual lives. Artists involved in coded language. Usher, R. Kelly, and others sang about secret thrusts that many now interpret as references to men or taboo relationships. Last time I checked, R. Kelly and Usher are FBA. Hold on. AK 2000. Let me ask you a question. These artists are not Jamaican. These artists that I'm naming to you are FBA. I'm going to post a link. You could debunk. Hold on. I keep posting this link. You could jump up here, bro. All of these artists that I'm naming you are FBA. They're not Jamaican. They're not Caribbean artists. They're FBA. They're not tethers. Female artist prostitution, sexual trauma, manipulation. Millie Jackson's song, If Loving You Is Wrong All the Way, Lover, Puck You Symphony. Themes: raw sexuality, dominance, cursing, gender war. Millie often disguised prostitution, sugar baby culture, and revenge in her storytelling. Donna Summer, songs, Love to You Baby, Bad Girls. Prostitution glamorized through disco. Hidden Layers, Bad Girls is a song about streetwalkers hidden in dance beat. Vanity, Vanity 6, Prince Protege. Songs, Nasty Girl. Themes, exploitation, exhibitionism, and hypersexuality. Context, Prince used female artists to express sexual messages he couldn't say himself. La Bella, Patrick LaBelle's group. Songs, Lady Marmalade. Lyrics, Voulez-vous. I don't know how to read that. Okay, this might be a tether. Yeah. These prostitution in French covered up in exoticism. Janet Jackson, AFBA. Songs, If Any Time, Any Place, Rope Burn. Themes, BDSM, voyeurism, secret sexual rendezvous, hidden undertones, control of male sexuality under the disguise of female empowerment. That's the Stereotypes virus right there. This a lot of the black women and Jamaican women that you see on YouTube, they do this a lot on the panels. Whitney Houston, not inverting her lyrics, but rumors of bisexuality and deep relationship with Robin Crawford were buried under pop iconography and marriage to Bobby Brown. I Have Nothing, and others take a new meaning in hindsight, right? These are all FBA people. All right, so let's move that, and add something else. The other lie being told. That Jamaicans are responsible for the influx of drugs in Black America. Last time I checked, you had Frank Lucas, you had Bumpy Johnson, you had that TV series Snowfall. So let's go into it. Remember, American Gangster, right? It features mainly Black American gangsters, not other gangsters. Black American dope gang. The origins of Black American gangs and drug cultures. The Crips and the Bloods, two of the most prominent African American street gangs, originated in Los Angeles during the 1960s and early 70s. The Crips are founded by Raymond Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams, while the Bloods formed in response to the Crips' growing influence. These gangs were involved in various criminal activities, including drug trafficking, well before the arrival of Jamaican gangs in the U.S. Moreover, the crack cocaine epidemic of the 1980s, which the devastating effects on Black communities was significantly influenced by domestic factors. The FX series Snowfall, well dramatized, draws inspiration from real events, highlighting how drug trade expanding in Los Angeles during this period. Now, I'm going to say this. I agree with that, I can fire. I don't hold it against Black American men or Caribbean Black men for engaging in the dope game that took place in the 80s and the 90s. Why I say that is because America took place or had their hand into the dope game. Every group of white European male, whether they were Irish, Italian, small hats, all of them had their hand into the dope game. And when you question a lot of those old school Italian or Irish mob bosses or mafia members about their involvement into the criminal activity, they will tell you that we did this dope game or these criminal activities to live out the American dream, right? If you look at a lot of the communities in New York City, per se, like the Armenians, the Russians, the Italians, all these places. Let me put myself on the screen. In all these places, I would argue that a lot of these communities, European communities, are built off of mafia money, drug money, dope money. In my opinion, right? In my opinion, a lot of these communities is built off adult money. So I don't hold it against Black American men or Caribbean Black men for engaging in that. Because at that time, that's what the environment said. That's what the environment was doing. So if that's what you had to do to make money at that time, I'm not going to hold it against you. However, today in 2025, with all the opportunities we have, I will hold it against you. There's no reason for you to be hugging a block and selling dope when there's access to resources and trades. What's going on, Malik Bay?
Can you hear me? Peace, can you hear me? Peace, can you hear me?
I don't know why I can't hear you. Hold on. Where's my mic? I don't have my mic. Can you say something now?
I say, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, brother. You know, I see what you're doing, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. It's not good for your intention, because the bottom line is, amongst our people, we stuff all across the world. As you see what they're doing in Africa right now, because our people was made to be poor all across around the board. This is why you see them able to infiltrate our people from Africa to the islands to here. We are all the same people. So for you to pinpoint the dirtiness of whatever of so-called Black Americans, now I know better than that because I'm a Moor. And when you look at Webster's dictionary from 1828, it says that the Native Americans, the copper-toned people. When you say America, you're talking about North America, Central America, South America, and joining islands. We all family. So what it is this. I don't think anybody in their right frame of mind would say what you're saying is wrong, as far as Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. We all family because we can come back and forth, you know, to each other and whatnot. You know, my people come from the deep South. Let's go Creek Indians. My mother's side is from Bruford, South Carolina. You know, she Gully Geechee. And some other people come out of Barbados through what you call the Gully Wars. We're all family here. Some of my
right,
people
and if you know, and if you do the history about Haiti, because of that war that Haiti fought, it freed up a lot of that southern belt, like New Orleans and that area. And basically, America was able to gain that territory because of that war that Haiti had with Napoleon. And then you even had Chicago, where it said that a Haitian founded Chicago. So now,
when you was there already, brother. The indigenous people in Chicago was there already. There was Lenape Indians out there. These people, yes, this is what I try to say. We all connect to each other. We're no different from each other. We're family here. Because do you know what's considered as the West Indies? You know, that was a shipping company. That place was never called the West Indies. And that place you call Jamaica. The Taínos never called that place Jamaica.
I know that they called it. Oh, we called it Essamaica. Essamaica or something like that. So it didn't have a J. It had a Y.
So what I'm trying to say is this to you, brother. We're family.
But this is the thing. But this is the thing, though, right?
Right.
There's lies being told about
what?
Jamaicans' contribution to Black American space, and that's what I'm correcting. If you go on YouTube and social,
they always can.
Right, but see, hold on. But see, the lies are not being addressed or challenged; they're being spit out there. The first lie is that Jamaicans introduced the drug game into Black America. The second lie that I saw the other day, somebody streaming saying that Jamaicans added homosexuality into Black America. The next lie with the music is that we added, you know how you see Sexy Red and Ice Spice and those people? They're saying that came from our music into their culture. And what I'm trying to show so basically what Black Americans is doing, or FBA, they're trying to cast their sins of their culture onto Jamaican Blacks. So they're trying to get us to eat their sins that they created for themselves. And they're putting out the lie out there, and nobody's challenging or correcting it. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, hold on, wait a minute. This is your FBA in your own music. These are your own FBA gangs, your own FBA dope dealers that introduce these stuff into your own culture. And what I'm seeing from FBA, because this is what's happening, brother, right? At one point, Black American men used to be the sin eaters of Black culture. Black women would do shit, and then Black American would eat the sins of Black women. Well, because Black men have come to this space and cleared their name, Black American men, they can't use Black American men to eat their sins anymore. They can't blame white people anymore for the issue. So now they have to find somebody else to hate and cast their sins upon. And it seems to me that they're using either Jamaican blacks or Nigerian blacks, because those are the two groups that they target. And I remember they used to call Nigerian blacks African booty scratcher. You remember that?
Yes.
They used to say Jamaican niggas wasn't black. We're exotic black. Coconut music, banana boats, all kind of shit. I'm from Brooklyn, Kings County, Brooklyn, East New York, May 1992. I grew up in it. See what I'm saying? So what I'm doing is not allowing the lies to stink. Nobody's addressing it. If you let them,
but what is there to address that we all been through the same struggle? My thing is this: you're gonna have people with short mind. If I go to Jamaica right now, you got people that call me a Yankee. Do I take that as disrespect?
That's true. That's
true. I take that as a disrespect and say, you know what, all y'all Jamaicans say we Yankees. How disrespectful are y'all? That's not true. You're gonna find that amongst everybody. But remember this: we have children with each other right now. We have family.
That's true.
So what I'm saying to you is, at one time, there was no Jamaicans in Georgia, in the Carolinas. There was no Haitians or that. That's how you know we interlock with each other. And this is what they're afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Because what's going to happen is, I know you could be my second cousin, married to my second cousin. This is how deep this thing is. So we need not point the finger at each other. Those days are going, you know? What I'm saying to you is, we are all American if you look at it. Great Island just happens to be, you know what I'm saying, North America. Remember, the Americans don't consist of just North America. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so that makes you American. Here go the problem. A lot of people in the islands or South America, they keep calling themselves immigrants. Not immigrants. You're American. You're just from another part of America. Am I right?
That's correct.
So why do they call themselves immigrants?
Yeah, but see, this is the thing, right?
It's education, brother. That's the thing.
This is the thing, right?
I know. I talk to y'all. Listen, I talk to brothers in the islands. Let me say something to you, brother. They having a big problem down there because you know why? Yeah, brother.
Go ahead.
Because what it is this. They always ask me, we have an issue down here. I say, yeah, because y'all got to claim back your birthright. If your forefathers and mothers were Taino, how can you call yourself Jamaican today? Claim back the island as indigenous people. Yes, the Maroons fought a good war. There's rebellions. That's what they need. The Maroons no different than Black Panther here. You understand?
Right.
What I'm saying to you is this, brother. Right now, that gay stuff, the LGBT, whatever, they so strong, you got people in the islands, especially of Jamaica, can't even say Bati boy no more. They get fined for that now. Am I right?
Yeah. No,
that's
yeah,
how
you're
strong
right.
they are, man. So what I'm saying is, listen, we are indigenous people all over the earth. We're indigenous all over the earth. What I'm saying is, don't let people come on here and divide us. Yes, they're gonna be people from North America. I'm gonna say what it is. They call themselves FBA Foundation Black America. But remember, miseducation comes from everywhere. You got people that say Black Americans don't have a culture and don't know what a culture means.
Right.
With every culture, you have a language. With every culture, you have a language. Right or wrong?
That's correct.
So what I'm saying to you is this: how is that Black Americans have a culture, but you're speaking of a Black American vernacular? So what I'm trying to say to you is, we're the family. Yes, there's gonna be people get on here and very arrogant. They don't know nothing because Black is not a nationality. How many times you know that and I know that, right or wrong?
Correct.
So are you gonna bust your brain trying to convince people? You be in trouble, man. All I'm saying is to you, we as a people, listen, when they think of the Americas, They think of North America. They forgetting that the islands is part of the Americas. You know what I'm saying? I love all my brothers and sisters because if me and you walking down the block and the police ride by, what they gonna see?
2 niggas.
There you come back. You said that. And I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, brother. You know
That's what I'm saying.
what I'm saying? So
right?
you already know.
You know what I'm saying? But see, like, the problem, again, like somebody has to challenge or check it.
Challenge what? What are you challenging?
It has to be challenged because
Okay, challenge on what?
It's gonna stay out there. It's gonna stay
It's
out
not out
there.
there. That's old news. That's what people with petty mindset. You know that. That's petty mindset. Still today, you got people in the islands called Black American Yankee. That's gonna stay out there forever too. You wanna challenge that?
But hold on though. Yeah, we'll challenge that. But hold on though. So hold on.
Why?
Hold on though, right? You said that Jamaicans in the islands call Black Americans Yankee. You don't think that's
even the ones here? Even the ones here. Even the ones here.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing though, right? The ones who call themselves FBA, they're pretending. The ones who call themselves FBA, they're pretending as if they didn't have any words for us either. That's what I'm trying to say.
You know why they call themselves FBA, brother? Because it's like a lineage. They speak of Pacific people here in North America who have lineage here going back to the 1800s. Let me ask you a question. Can you find your family on the 1800 census?
No. Did they have a census back then?
We can. So what it is, our lineage go back here. And I know some people were caught up on slavery, but you know what? I'm not big on that because the first time I heard of slavery was the movie Roots. And you know Alex Haley was sued for that movie, right?
Oh, he was sued for that?
Yeah, because you know why? Because he plagiarized it. It was based on historical fiction. It wasn't real. Yeah, he was sued for that. And know who sued him?
Who sued him?
An Irish woman.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't our story. We indigenous, like Taino. Remember, our family from the South was Choctaw, Gully Geechee, Blackfoot, Alabama, Choctaw. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say to you is this. If you don't know the history, come on now. You gotta wake up.
I hear what you're saying. It's just like, the thing is that with YouTube and social media, right? It's big. It's very influential. People watch it every time.
AI crap.
What happened?
AI. You know this AI stuff is going crazy. This is another way of dividing us. This is another way of dividing our people.
I'm just saying, I just had to do this live because every time you get up on YouTube or you get on social media, or even if I'm starting to hear it in real life now. So that's my thing. If it's now approaching in real life, then
are we shooting each other? Are we shooting this?
No, we're not. No, I'm not.
Oh, there you go, brother. There you go. Just talk.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute, though. If Black Americans is labeling Jamaican niggas as a certain way, and then pretending as if they were hostile towards us back in the 80s and 90s.
No, that's not true.
It's going to make us look.
That's not true. You don't see that every day in Brooklyn. Most people you know in Brooklyn are a mixture in family. That's not true, brother.
Okay.
That's not true. Come on, man. I'm all throughout Flatbush and all that. Flatlands. Man, that's not true, brother. Listen, people try to live their life, man. Nobody get caught. Oh, you Jamaican? You Trini? You Yankee? Nobody get caught up in that no more. That's petty-minded stuff. You know better than that.
See, so hold on. So watch this, right? So I understand what you're saying, right? The thing is now, if mind you, Tariq Nasheed has a big influence on him. So does a lot of them FBA people. If people are watching their shows and now people are bold enough to come off the internet and say that shit in real life, come on, you can't tell me you never heard a Black American tall Caribbean person go back to your country.
You know what? I heard a lot of stuff, but you want to know something? How would they know what country you coming from? You're American, are you not?
But hold on. But the point is,
yes or no?
I'm an American, but the point is that it's being said.
Yeah, but who cares? My thing is this: you would never stop that. Look at Farrakhan. Look at Farrakhan lineage. He's part. Listen, he leads the Nation of Islam. Are they talking about him?
Yes, they call him Farrakhan a tether now.
What?
They call him
Nobody calling
Farrakhan
him
a
that.
tether. Yes,
Listen,
they is. Go ask
brother,
them.
let me say something to you.
Go listen to Tariq
They call
Nasheed
Farrakhan
and a lot of them.
Listen,
They call him a tether.
Farrakhan. But see, let me ask you a question. Do you know what a tether really is? No, do you know what tether really is?
Somebody tied to something.
No, what is a tether? Please tell me.
Hold on. Let me go look it up on a tether.
No, I'm asking you. No, off top. Since you know, don't do no. Tell me what a tether is.
What they mean by a tether? They mean that a tether is somebody tied to their culture or tied to them. That's what they mean by.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not what tether is, brother.
Well, what does it mean? You tell me.
No, a tether is somebody who come from abroad, you know what I'm saying, and start coinciding with the so-called white supremacy, going against the very culture that's here already. You know what I'm saying? That's not a tether's not somebody coming from the islands. That's not what tether is.
But don't tell me what I should know. This is how they describe it. They'll label a Nigerian a tether, and they'll label a
that's not true, brother.
Jamaican.
That's not true.
That's what they do. Go listen to them. Go to your Twitter space where those FBA hold a thing. If you're Nigerian and you walk up in there and you have a disagreement with them, they're gonna call you a tether. If you're Jamaican,
a tether is somebody who come over here, who go against, you know what I'm saying, the people that's over here that look like him. Okay, that's the tether. Somebody who's going against, that ride against the people that's here already, that's already going through our trial and tribulations here. Like you would say, oh, all the opportunities are here, as if your lineages come from here, as if your people are not being plotted on constantly. Are you telling me that you think that the Black American plot is not happening here? That they're not plotting against us here? Are you telling me that? You don't know that?
Who's plotting against who over here?
The powers that be, brother. The powers that be.
So hold on. So brother, then why is it? So then why? No, come on, don't gaslight me. So then why is FBA calling a Nigerian a tether and Jamaicans a tether? Because that's what they call tether.
I told you what the word tether means. But I told you what tether means.
No, you're telling me what you mean. You think it is. I'm telling you what they mean.
No, brother. No, brother. No, brother. That ain't what tether means. Why don't you ask the people what tether means? That doesn't mean that you came over from the islands or Jamaica, or whatever. No, it don't mean that.
That's what they say it means.
No, it don't mean that.
You telling me no, it don't mean that, but the brother, this dude right here, AK, he just called me a
person. You listen to one
but he's
person.
one person of this is one person of many. I promise you. Go into those spaces. I don't know if you're familiar with the Angry Man. He refers to niggas as tethers.
Hey, brother, let me ask you a question, brother. You mean tell me I won't find you trying to tell me I won't find a Jamaican that would downgrade Black Americans?
Say that again?
You trying to tell me I won't find one Jamaican that won't downplay Black Americans?
Yes, but you'll find a Black.
Hold up, stop right there. If that's true, I should condemn all Jamaicans now, right?
Hold on, hold on, wait, hold on. I'm not condemning all Black Americans. I'm correcting the lies that they tell.
What lies? What lies?
I just going through them right now. I'm just telling.
Let me say something. Are you telling me there ain't no gay men in Jamaica? Are you telling me that?
Hold on. I'm not saying. I did not say that. Don't put words in my mouth now.
Is there gay people in Jamaica? Yes or no?
Hold on.
I'm asking you.
I'm saying Black Americans are saying that Jamaicans introduced homosexuality into their culture.
Well, not everybody believe that. Nobody believe that story, man. I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's what they're saying.
No, most of us that's conscious don't believe that. You know what I'm saying to you? Most of us conscious don't believe that.
Is the conscious community the majority or the minority?
Brother, that's not true, brother. That's not true.
Is the conscious community, Sanada and them, are they the majority or the minority? Do most black
the majority always gonna be foolish, you know that.
Is Black American culture looking to the conscious community,
Are
or they
you
looking?
governing us by a few? Are you governing us by a few? Yes or no?
I'm gonna ask you the question again and answer it. Does the majority of Black American culture look to or follow the conscious community? So not and them people. Answer that question.
Brother, I'm gonna say it to you like this. Most of those people you think is from North America, they have Caribbean lineage. You know that, right?
Who? You talking about?
A
Jamaican
lot of people,
or
man.
FBA?
Listen, a lot of people have Caribbean lineage. Let me say something to you. When you come to the belly of the beast, you don't know what these people might turn around and do. Okay? Because I've heard this. I talked to people over in England. They told me a lot of people get to England, they change up like a mother. That gay stuff apply over their hard body. How about that one?
Hold on. But what I'm telling you is that FBA are saying that Jamaican blacks added their homosexuality and gang banging other stuff into their culture. That's what I'm correcting. And
Okay, I'm gonna say this to you.
saying FBA, that's a lie. You already had that stuff into your
Of
culture.
course
So
it's a lie, but you know what? I'm telling you, I'm one of the ones that said it's not true.
Yeah, but you're one voice.
No, I'm not one voice. I can bring many people on here, brother.
You're one
I
voice.
can bring many people.
I don't hear them speaking. As a matter of fact, you know how I don't hear them speaking? Because when I loaded this up, there's 6 people that's watching. You came up here and talking to
Let
me.
me ask you a question, there, brother. What do you think is the difference between Black Americans and Caribbean? What do you think is the difference here in North America? What do you think is the difference?
Culture.
Huh? Is there a difference between us here in North America?
Culture.
Culture?
Yeah.
What culture you talking about?
One culture was developed by the British and the Spaniards or Spain. The other culture was developed by the Americans here. So culture. That's like there's a difference between Haitian and Jamaican culture and Trinidadian culture.
Are they still melanated people? Yes or no?
They're melanated people, but they still have different culture. If you go to Jamaica, you call them African or Nigerian right now, they're gonna cuss you out.
Ain't that kind of foolish to say that? Why would
It's not.
They
So
claim
what?
to be African now. They claiming the African culture.
No,
Jamaica right now.
not the majority of not the majority of Jamaican culture.
Listen, but if you look at the news, it seems like that's what they're doing because of the coup in Africa right now. They claim they out there marching right now the rosters for African freedom and all that. Are they not?
But the Rastafarian community in Jamaica is not a big population. Yes, they're the minority. They have an influence, but they're not the minority.
They're the conscious ones, right?
If you want to call it that, but the majority of Jamaican people don't follow Rastafarianism.
So amongst our people, there's foolish amongst everybody, right? There's foolish people in the islands, foolish people in North America. Am I right?
That's not my argument.
But your argument is I'm gonna say it to you like this, brother. You're always gonna run into ignorant people. You know that, right or wrong?
Yeah, but now if you let ignorant people or stupid people influence people, their influence is going to get bigger. So you got to correct it or go against it. That's what I'm correcting.
Brother, let me say something to you. Let me say something to you, brother.
Hold on, let me get my charger.
Tila is not a person; it's a description, right?
So, say again.
They say Tila is not a person; it's a description, right?
That's correct.
Okay. They ask this, right? Ask him if he even seen a man in a dress in English TV like US.
Say again. Say that again.
They said, ask him if he even seen a man in a dress in English TV like in the US.
On English TV, like in the UK, I never seen that.
Never seen that?
I never watched English TV.
Okay.
So what are you saying? So what do you mean by that?
What I'm trying to say is this, brother. Our people are being hunted all over the place, not just in Americas and the islands.
I'm hearing what you're saying, that our people being hunted all over the place, but what you have here in America is FBA attacking Caribbean people.
You know what? I might, you know what? I'm not going to doubt that because you know what? I'll see Caribbeans going at Blacks Americans. So the same thing. I don't pay that no mind because that's going to happen all the way.
Hold on, though. But you see, what's the problem? This is the problem I'm talking about. FBA is not acknowledging that you attack Caribbean blacks too. So you don't think you're going to get a response? Should Caribbean blacks just sit there and let you keep attacking them and not say something back to you?
Let me ask you a question. If FBA was attacking Black Americans, can you show that on the news that they're attacking them?
Why would they show that on the news? And why would the news?
No, I'm actually.
Why
You're from
would
East
the
New
news?
York. You're from East New York. Are they attacking? Are they attacking West Indians in East New York? Yes, no.
I'm not talking about in real life. I'm talking about
Oh,
on
okay,
YouTube.
so that means in real life, what that mean?
Hold on though, but shit
It just
on you.
talk.
Hold on, but wait, hold on. But shit on YouTube could get into real life. Hold on. You said you from East New York, right? Don't you remember during the 80s and the 90s when Jamaican niggas and Black American niggas was going at it?
That's culture clash. That happened all the time. And you guys
Okay, then. So then you
that's
were aware
culture
that it
clash,
happened.
but that don't make me dislike each other. Like, listen, bro, let me say something to you. I read a document where the people from the Caribbean went to England. They had culture clash with the Africans over there.
To where?
With the Africans in England. The people in the islands had culture clash with the Africans in England. But look at it now. Things change. Nothing stays the same. You know that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get all of that. But the current culture clash that we have right now on the internet, which is what I'm addressing, is with the FBA. If you go on these Twitter spaces, if you go on your YouTube and your social media, that's what they're doing. And they're making crazy lies right now.
We don't know if the agent amongst us doing this right or wrong. Because that's what they do. They divide our people, do they not?
Yeah, but the agents are not white faces. The agents are
No, it don't have to be a white face. Agents don't come in color. Agents
all right,
anybody.
So then why am I the only one bold enough to go at the agent? Why is no other FBA or Black Americans saying, hold up, Tariq Nasheed, you got it?
Well, there's enough of them out there. It is.
Where they at? I don't see them. I'm the only one. I'm the only one up there.
Ask you a question. How big you think North America is? How big is North America? How big is North America?
It's big.
Let me ask you a question. At one time, in certain places, there was no island people at one time here in North America, right or wrong.
What do you mean by that?
So there's a lot of people that didn't have contact with a lot of island people. So they got what they hearsay. Oh, they come over here with the posses. Remember all that stuff that's come out? Jamaicans came from the islands with posses and all that.
You talking about the Jamaican bosses that came over here?
Yeah. What about that? Was that true or not?
That's true.
Did they come with drug games? Yes or no?
Hold on, but who came here before them though?
No, it don't matter. I'm asking you a question. Did they? Yes or no?
Yeah, they did. But who came here before?
Okay, see what I'm trying to say is we all played the part, bro. That's what I'm saying.
But hold on, but this is what I'm saying. Black Americans are trying to say they didn't play a part. They're saying that only Jamaican niggas played a part. And they're saying that Jamaican niggas is the introduction to the part. That's what they're saying. Hold on, let me show you something.
Drugs is everywhere, brother. Drugs is everywhere, brother. You know that, right?
But you're not understanding what I'm saying.
You worry about what somebody say. That's small-minded stuff, man. That's you're right, brother.
I'm not trying. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show y'all.
Right? Somebody put in the comment, brother, you're not Indian. We can't get rid of Africa. It's on the inside. Who they speaking about?
Oh, who's gonna see this? Hold on. You're not Indian. We can't get rid of Africa. It's on the inside, bro. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all switch and change between identities so much. First it was Tether, now it's FBA, now it's ADOS. Now, this is my problem with so-called Black people. Y'all gotta figure this shit out, bro. There's too many identities.
You know what?
Y'all this for this era. Yeah, that for that era. And then you know what lets me know? Hold on. You know what lets me know? Whether y'all Moorish American, NOI, Black Panthers, all of y'all have failed. Y'all look to Brooklyn, I look to Harlem. Niggas are still gang banging and hugging the block. You go to Queensbridge, niggas are still gang banging, hugging the block, and shooting each other. So y'all have failed.
That's poverty. That's what poverty does for you, brother. If I go to Jamaica and I go to the poorest part, what I'm going to see? What I'm going to see in the poorest part of Jamaica? Please tell
This
me.
the same shit. Them niggas,
Thank
they
you.
failed.
Thank you.
They have
Thank
okay
you.
then.
Thank
But
you. I'm
that's my
glad you
point.
said
But
that.
hold on.
I'm glad you
But hold
admit
on.
that. I'm glad you admit that, brother. Stop it. Stop it.
Hold on. That's my point.
You admitted it. Thank you.
Hold on, but that's my point. Whether y'all Rastafari, African nigga this,
We're family,
North
brother. I'm
America,
sorry.
all of y'all
We're
niggas have
family.
failed. All of y'all niggas are still broke. Y'all put Sexy Red as y'all standard of black woman. Y'all put King Von and Little Dirk as a standard of a black masculinity. What are y'all saying? Y'all don't listen to Minister Farrakhan. Y'all don't listen to Rizza Islam. Y'all don't listen to them
Let me
niggas.
ask you a question. You said nobody needs to lose Farrakhan. That's what you said?
No,
That's a
y'all
lie,
don't.
brother.
Name me the young,
Stop that,
name me the young 24-year-old kid right today that's talking about Minister Farrakhan and Rizza Islam today. And Rizza Islam is a millennial. He's my generation.
Okay.
Nobody's listening to that nigga.
Let me ask you a question then. All right, then, since you're saying that. Who is the dominant culture here in North America with music and dances? Name the people.
Between Black American and Jamaican music.
No. I'm not saying that. Just name the dominant culture that have more inventions, the music and dances. No. I'm asking you a question. That's what I'm saying
Black
to you again.
Americans?
Who have
Who?
who have more inventions or who have more creativity here in North America with music, dances, and inventions? Tell me the people.
As far as Black Americans?
No. As far as anybody in America, in North America. I'm talking about here in North America.
You would have to say white people.
Of course we do. Of course we do. We are the most influenced people in the world, just like the people in the islands are more influenced people too. I'm not dividing myself from my brothers from the islands.
Yeah, but see, you're one person.
No, I'm not one.
Hold
What you
on.
want
This
me to
is
get
what
a
I'm
bunch of
saying.
people up and lose conscious?
This is my issue with black people.
You always have an issue.
All of y'all objective. Y'all not addressing what you're not addressing what the environment or the culture is saying right now. The culture, the niggas on internet, the culture is saying right now is the teller niggas are Jamaican niggas and Nigerian niggas. They're making a clear separation. They've been making that clear separation before YouTube or social media. You're from Eastern Europe, Brooklyn, like I'm from Eastern Europe, Brooklyn. You
I'm
know
from
that.
Brownsville, brother.
Exactly, and you know that. You know that there's been a separation. I get it. All the pro-black niggas during the 80s and the 90s, right? They try to make, we are all black, all this and that. But there was a couple individual groups, like maybe the NOI, Hebrew Israelites, Morriside Temple of America. But that was all individual groups. Black America as a whole did not like Caribbean niggas.
Can I address something, brother?
Go ahead.
There's a brother on here named Akeem Fire. He said I'm a Rasta Jamaican, right? He said that, brother, you're not Indian. We can't get rid of Africa. It's on the inside. That's not true, brother. That's not
but
true.
But hold on.
That's his opinion. That's not facts. I have a well documented that we've been Americans over 1,000 years. We're not African. That's a new word too.
Yeah, but you have
like
to
Jamaican's
see. Hold on,
word.
hold on. But you gotta look. I can't find if he's Rasta from the Rastafarian community. They see themselves as African. But this is what my point I said earlier. Most Jamaican niggas, they don't agree with Rastafari. They don't see themselves as African.
You know what? And you know what? And I don't see nothing wrong. Listen, you should be able to identify who you are. He put black women teach YGs, then send them out in communities.
Yeah, in Jamaica, right?
I guess that's what he's speaking on.
In Jamaica, hold on. This exists in Black American culture too, where you have the black women. They'll say they won't breed with black men unless they got bodies to their name or they out there gangbanging. This is a thing that's happening in Chicago and in Jamaica right now. And so apparently in with Jamaican women and Black American women, they're only giving children to the crash outs of the black culture. That's a problem. right? Hold on.
Okay. I'm gonna say this again to the to
Mm-hmm.
my roster brother.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have no African lineage because that's a made up term too. Just like Jamaica, just like black, Negro, colored, African American. These are all misnomers of who we are not. Documented facts that we've been the Americans way before there was a word called Africa. Just let him know that for the record.
Okay, he can hear you, right? See, hold on. See,
Also,
but hold on, no. Hold on. My purpose of this show, and I
yeah.
want to get it clear. You're one person, but
No, I
these.
don't bring on many
Hold
people.
on, hold on, hold on. You're on my show. Uh, you have these voices like a Tariq Nasheed, and he's a big voice influence. He has a following. You have big YouTube channels that's echoing and repeating what he's saying. They're making a separation between Caribbean blacks, African blacks, and themselves. And they're calling themselves, they're calling us tethers. They're calling Jamaican blacks and and African blacks, Nigerian black, particularly African and Nigerian blacks, tethers. This is what they say. When you go into Twitter spaces, when you go into any of these spaces, and you say something, and you're disagreeing to what they say, they call them. They even call Black American blacks.
I think,
Hold on, listen. They call Black American blacks like an Anton Daniels or an angry man. That's astounding. They call them niggas tethers, and they're Black American. They're homegrown Black American. This is what's going on. But particularly when you hear one of Tariq Nasheed's peons speak, they're speaking against Caribbean blacks and saying we're tethers and we're the ones who influence black culture into the debauchery it is today. That's what I'm correcting. That's the point of my show. I'm not saying that Jamaican niggas weren't hostile towards them. What I'm saying is that Black Americans are pretending as if they accepted us into their culture from the beginning when they didn't. I get it that cats from your group in Eastern New York, Brooklyn, your individual group. I don't know if you know somebody by the name of Karate Joe from Queensbridge. He used to run with Mob B. He's my MMA trainer. He's agreeing to the culture, right? But at the same time, these are just individual groups. Majority of black culture did not accept us into their thing. And so now, if you have these groups on the internet, that's a big influence preaching what they're preaching. It's something that has to be addressed. You have to admit that. It's just like if black people don't correct some of the lies that white people have told, their lies are going to persist, aren't they not?
of course.
Okay, then. So I have to correct the lies being told on Caribbean blacks by FBA. It has to be corrected.
It's vice versa, brother. It's vice versa. It's vice versa. You got people in the islands. You got people in the islands that think Black Americans don't have a culture.
But hold on. But wait a minute.
A lot of them say that.
Hold on. Wait. I agree with you.
Okay, so we have difference.
Hold
Right?
on. Hold on. The difference is we'll correct a Caribbean nigga real quick.
No, I don't correct. No, I wouldn't.
Hold on, wait. Listen, we'll check a Caribbean nigga real quick. Hey, you can't say that.
No, I would never say that. I would never say that.
We'll tell a Jamaican nigga quick, yo, if a Black American would check a Caribbean nigga, say, hey, yo, don't call me a Yankee. And you got Black Americans that are adamant about that. You'll hear Black Americans say, hey, yo, we do have a culture. Here go to history, brother. And the Jamaicans would get checked on that. But whenever hold on, when Black Americans say something to a Caribbean black, they don't get checked.
Say that again? That's not true, brother. That's not true. If you mistaken, listen, some people thought at one time all people that came here was Jamaican. So they found out. Now they're not all Jamaican. Some people are Trini, some people are Bayesian. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So they had to straighten that out. Remember, a lot of people don't know who's who. You're assuming that these people are Jamaican. You assume these people are Bayesian.
I get you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Even at one point, Haitian niggas used to get bullied by Black Americans.
No, not just Black America. I went to Wingate. A lot of people in the island was bullying them too, because the rumor was they had Haitians. I mean, AIDS. The rumor was they had AIDS. Remember that? That was deep. I went to Wingate High School. Listen, I know some of the boys from the 90s that was from the island. They was bullying them too, man. They from the island straight up. I see because they had AIDS. Listen, at a while, all that calms down because everywhere you go, man, our people are coming together. We have children by each other. You know what I'm saying?
See,
All I'm saying,
I understand all of that, right? And my thing is now, for the future children, these lives has to be corrected, bro. You have to agree with that. I cannot be the only one on YouTube with the voice saying, "Hey, hold up, Tariq the Shade." You can't be saying that. You can't be saying that
can I
Caribbean
say something to
niggas.
you?
Go
Can
ahead.
I ask you a question? Do you know most of these people not even from New York or around Caribbean people?
Cool.
A lot of people, they not from New York or the or northern part of North America, where most people from the islands, like you have in
Which
Chicago
people?
on down to New York, Philly, Connecticut, down to Florida. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying a lot of people in the Midwest and West Coast, they don't have that experience. A lot of them. You got to understand that, man. Everybody don't have that
That's
communication.
but see that I understand that now, right? So now think about it this way: if those people who never had experience with Caribbean blacks, and now that social media is the new influence, and they go on YouTube and they hear Tariq Nasheed talk, what you think talk about Caribbean blacks? What you think their
She
first
never said
impression
follow him.
about us is going to be?
He never said
Huh?
follow him. He never said he was a leader.
Mm-hmm.
He have his
They
own opinion. Do he not have his own opinion? Yes or no?
He has his own opinion, but people are following that
You can't,
opinion.
but you can't base his opinion on everybody. Listen, anybody can start a cult. You can start a cult if you want to, right or wrong, and people start believing you. Dr. York was big at one time. You know what I'm saying? And Dr. York was hit with all kind of conspiracy. To everybody found out the truth wasn't what it was, and there was all kind of people in that movement with him. Island people, North American
Yeah,
people.
that's what I'm saying. So
So
hold
what I'm
on.
saying is, he didn't get caught up in that crazy stuff.
Hold on. Let me get my charger for my phone. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Okay, brother. All right.
All right, I'm back. All right, so yes, so shalom. Okay, so back to what I was saying. My whole point of the show is that if they're gonna have that influence and they're gonna put certain lies out there, it has to be counteracted. If I'm the only voice that's going to be doing it and nobody else is going to say something, well, hold on, wait a minute, Tariq Nasheed. And mind you, I agree with Tariq Nasheed and them about hip hop, about Kool Herc not being the star of hip hop based upon the facts that they're presenting. I agree with that
Culture.
wholeheartedly.
We're talking culture. People are talking participation. That's why.
Right.
I'm the brother that be talking about the true savior. And I speak to true teacher who is Jamaican descent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is this, look, when Jamaicans, especially Jamaican Bayesian, when they came here, and they've been here for a while, what I'm saying is in the 1960s, our culture, is going through a turmoil as far as Martin Luther King getting killed, Malcolm X. Then you had James Brown pop up saying, "I'm black and I'm proud." This is where they say the hip hop really, the origin, the essence of it came from. Because the b-boy on the floor, they start emulating James Brown footwork. But what happened is, yes, there's gonna be other people there, you know what I'm saying, like Herc, Bam, and flashing them, but they're amongst Black American culture. People, they said that already. But that wasn't the problem. The problem is when they say black people start the culture, that's what they mean. But some people gotta say, no. How about they start separating? They was West Indian. Hold up, they were still black men. None of them ever said that we got this from the islands. They said when we came here, we're assimilating to the culture. I think Flash came here as a baby. Bam, I think he was born here. And Herc said when he came here, he was young. He assimilated to Black American culture. That wasn't the issue. The issue was our Puerto Rican brothers, Boricua, from the island Borican. They the ones saying, well, we was there from the beginning. No, see, but the pioneers are saying from the Bronx, it was very few y'all there in the beginning because of the time and everything. But they're trying to say, well, we was there. And we trying to say this come from a culture, not participation only. Well, it's gonna always be that way, man. People want recognition, man. But
the thing is, like, if Tariq Nasheed and them came out and said, hold on, Court, this is the facts. This is where it came from a professional point. But that's not how they came at it. They came at it on some like attack type shit. On some, you Jamaican niggas, y'all tell us this and came up with a whole name.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't do that to Herc. He didn't do that. That's a lie. That's a lie. You can't find
hold on. So Tariq
Nasheed
wasn't going around calling Jamaican niggas tethers? Who came up with that?
No, he never. Listen, if you understand what the word tether, why he was using it, he was saying this. Look, if I go to Jamaica right now, right, and I know the people of Jamaica going through a struggle, and all of a sudden I get in position to become a councilman, whatever, and I start going against the people of Jamaica, like, y'all don't need reparations from England. You got to work hard. So what they saying is, some people come over here, they don't recognize the plot and you know what I'm saying, of what Black Americans going through here. So they thinking you got to work hard, get up your bootstrap, because that's how I got it when I came. I came with nothing. But we're saying it's bigger than that. That's our way of saying that's our way of saying, hey, you have nothing to do with this right here. You got to go home and get your reparations from England. We get our reparations from this place called the United States and everything. What I'm saying is this, brother.
But so hold on, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
That's not how they're using it. I hope you know that.
Yes, they are. Yes,
that's
they are.
Not exactly. How you do. Go into the Twitter spaces and listen to how
I listen to that's certain people. You can't.
Yeah, but this is the thing is
we'll never stop that.
This is the thing with blacks, right? With black people, Jamaican Black Americans.
Okay, go ahead.
Y'all gotta stop being subjective with these terms. Because I talk to another black person and they'll say a tether is a Nigerian or tether is a Jamaican. Then I'll come speak to you and you'll say tether means this. That has to stop, because now
it's never going to stop. You know it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. You know that.
It has to be corrected.
Listen. Let me ask you a question then. Have you corrected your people from the islands or people from here that call Black Americans still Yankees? Are you going to correct that?
Yes.
Okay, correct that. Then be not biased. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. So have Black Americans corrected other Black Americans for calling Jamaican niggas coconut music and all that?
They've been slowed that down. Been slowed down because you know why? Intermarriage happened. That's why. Intermarriage has happened.
So now, hold on. So where's the Black American today that's checking niggas for calling?
That slowed down.
No, hold on. Where's the Black American on YouTube right now?
Bro, why they got on YouTube? Hold on, social media.
Where is the Black American right now that's saying, hold on, Tariq Nasheed, you can't be calling Jamaican niggas tethers? You can't be using the word
He
tether.
never expressed
Hold
that.
on, wait. You cannot be using the word tether, misusing the word tether to describe people who just don't
Bro,
agree
that's
with you.
him, brother. That's him, brother. That's not
But
majority.
I don't hear y'all checking it. Tether is now
You wanna know
becoming
something?
tether is now becoming the new word to describe a Jamaican or Nigerian.
So you're gonna correct? Are you gonna go by that? Or are you gonna go by, like, you know what? I'll never change people with that mindset because you'll never do it. It's like I'll never change. A lot of people have, listen, I was helping a lady from Barbados out, right? She's been in New York all her life, but she's young. And when I went to go over to help out with something, because I deal with a lot of civics, law and everything. I'm a Moor. This is why I deal with civics. And she introduced to one of her friends. She said, "Oh, this the Yankee I was telling you about." I looked at her like, Yankee, what the, that's her mindset.
Right.
What I'm gonna do? I correct her like I'm not a Yankee, but that she said, "I'm sorry, Malik. It's just a habit, And I know she ain't the only one saying it. It's a thousand of them saying it. Yankee, like, and here go the sad part. Where they get the Yankee from? Please, can you explain where they get that Yankee from?
I haven't figured that out. That one out
Okay,
yet.
I know where it came from. I know where
can't.
it came from because I corrected a Jamaican boy behind that. You know where I corrected him on?
Whatever.
I say Yankee came from, it was a southern thing towards the northerners during the Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, my thing is this.
Yeah.
If that's true, how is you in the islands calling us a Yankee? You're not from the South. That's a southern word. Then I asked them, oh, back in the days in the islands, they was watching cowboy movies. I said, oh, this is where y'all get that Yankee.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because a lot of Jamaicans, especially if you from like the boomer or silent generation, they watch a lot of old Western movies because that's what they had to watch if they had TV.
Yeah. But that's why they picked up Yankee. And I'm saying, how am a Yankee? And that came from the South because me up north, when I go south, I mean back in the 80s and 70s, they called Yankee. They was really deep on that northern stuff, Yankees and all up north, go back home and all. What? We're not from down here trying to take our jobs. This is the crash we got down. When we go down there, we get that big headache. Like, oh, you're not from down here. Go back up north, trying to take our jobs. Yo, that's the headaches we go through. Do you go like I heard y'all go through that when you go back to the islands? They consider y'all foreigners sometime. Americans.
Yeah, they'll brand me the so because I was born here, they'll brand me the Yankee thing too.
For real?
Yeah. So for a lot of Jamaicans that's born here, say like if you because my parents they came here in the 80s and I have older siblings, so I guess I'd be like a second generation born here. My siblings they were born in Jamaica, so but my family and other Jamaicans would call me a Yankee or you have Yankee influence. So
how that make you feel?
I check them on them. I'm like, bro, but at the same time, if I do something and succeed, y'all gonna hug me up as a Jamaican after that. So y'all can't be calling me that.
It's a condition, is it not?
It's a condition. I get what you're saying.
The same thing here. I'm trying to tell you the same thing with some FBA.
Yeah, but hold on though. But hold on. But what you not understanding is that the FBA are using it in a hostile context.
They're not talking about threats, so it's not hostile. It's just talk. Listen, you know about what they say what they call these people? Keyboard gangsters. Come on,
I get what you're saying, keyboard gangsters, but the thing is that them niggas have
something else, man. I can tell, brother, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, but hold on though. Like
it bothers me too. Listen, it bothers me too. Yo,
this is my thing. It bothers me because now I'm like, yo, especially when they say, yo, you Jamaican niggas bringing drugs and dope into the community. I say, but wait a minute. Frank Lucas, Bumpy Johnson, Blood in the Crib. You had a series called Snowfall that told you what happened in Compton.
But that's throughout all culture. Listen, our people, man. Let's be real, man.
Hold on, you heard me on the live say, yo, I don't put it against Black American men or any man of melanin during that time for having to deal dope because that was what the culture was at the time. The Jewish men were doing it. Italian men, every man was
doing it. They are still doing it. You know, they just got caught. They just caught a bunch of Jews down in South America bringing up kilos, and none of them went to jail. Google that. They still doing it. They just not.
And then take that money and build up.
Listen, they're not gonna allow us to build. You know that, man. They're not gonna allow us to build with so much because why? As we rise, they fall. This is why you see the coup in Africa because they're tired. They say, hold up. All this stuff come out of Africa, the minerals and everything. Why are we still suffering? That's the same thing happening here, just in a different way. We always being plotted on. That's a fact. Because remember one thing, bro. Let me say something to you. Majority of the inventions here in North America come from our people. And let me say something. Some of them people have Caribbean descent, but we still classify them as black men. You understand that?
See, and that's the other thing now, right? If I said on this live that you had Caribbean blacks that has been here since the 16th century.
Of course, we've been back and
One
forth.
of the main ones. He was from Barbados. He started the Negro Masons. I forgot what they call them.
You talking about Prince Hall?
Prince Hall Mason. There you go. African Lodge #1 and #2. And they did a lot of slave rebellions in over here.
See, I don't believe in that slavery stuff like that. You know why? Because I told you the first time I heard about slavery, it was roots, and we deaded that. That was all based on a plagiarized fiction. Okay. Because what it is this, brother. I do genealogy. Have you done your family genealogy?
Oh, not yet. I haven't done it yet.
I'm not talking about that blood. Don't take that blood in that swab test. Those are fake. That will put you into Africa. You part all kind of tribes over there. But who's your 4th, 5th great grandmother and grandfather will tell you what lineage you come from. Mine's come out of Georgia, Greensboro, Georgia. My 4th great grandfather was Muskogee, so-called Creek Indian. We never call ourselves Indians, but that's what they label as, right? But his wife was from Alabama. She was Choctaw. What I'm trying to say to you is this: if you don't know your family genealogy, how you going to talk about anything else? How you know who you are? What culture you come from? Mostly, listen. When I went to see the documents down in Georgia, all I seen are people on land. Man, I found lakes in my family name, all kind of stuff. Yes, I'm nationalized, but I'm still a Phelps, I'm still a Miller, and I'm still a Jenkins, because when I looked at the land patents, it has our family names on it. My friend from Jamaica, what you call Jamaica, her father's last name is Rose, straight up Rasta. When she did the genealogy, she said, Malik, she came and said, yo, I thought the Rose the Rose is from Carolina, Malik. I went back to the Carolinas. My father from Jamaica, Rasta. I said, because we all family here. During the Seminole War, someone got pushed into the Florida Keys, into the islands. My Jenkins was pushed into Barbados. Have you ever listened to a Gully Geechee talk? They speak patois, it's just like a Bayesian. I'm telling you,
my man Kimbo Slice. He's from they did a Dark Side of the Ring documentary on his parents is from from the Bahamas. When he used to come out in the UFC, he brought out his flag, his Bahamian flag.
Bro, it's all beautiful because remember one thing. If you look at what it says, Americas, and you'll see all the different flags and banners and everything. But remember one thing. I showed a brother from the islands in Jamaica. He's coming up here to see me. I told the brother, bring me some raw sea moss, all right?
Yeah.
So he telling me, Malik, we having problems. He telling me it's not like up there in New York. I said, what do you mean? He said, down here, man, he said, I said, I thought they was really conscious. He said, nah, Malik, a lot of people ignorance down here, man. You don't know.
So
I didn't know that, man. That shit scared me.
What's happening with Jamaica now, right? I don't know if it came from what's going on with my camera? Shit. What the hell? Okay, I'm back again. What's going on now is that I don't know if it's because of the music. I don't know what's going on, but hold on, I'm turning on the light. So I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if it's because of the influence of dancehall music or whatever's going on, but a lot of them, they're falling into the debauchery, like with Black American culture, like how you see the Sexy Reds, how you see the Ice Spices.
Sad, bro. Sad.
So they're falling into that debauchery too over there. So they did a lot of the Marxism that has rocked Black culture over here is taking hold over there with woke culture, all that stuff, leftist stuff. It's taking hold over there too. So that's what you see going on over there. So it's like, it's no more, just like how Black American culture lost the conservatism that was in it, the traditionalism in it.
By design. That was done by design.
The same thing with them.
Yeah, right? And you know something too? You're right, because I'm gonna tell you something. I was talking to a brother from South Africa. I told him, please don't get caught up in the colored and the Black. Don't get caught up in that. Those are misnomers of who we are not as a people. Stick to your tribal. Our tribal was broken up here. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're labeled now as, in 1600, we was labeled as Moors. What is a Moor? In Latin, they call a Moreno. A Moreno is a dark-skinned person of swarthy complexion. Then we became Indians. From Indians, we became colored and Negroes. From colored Negro, we became Black. Then we became African American. Now people taking on FBA.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Hold up, but all that's done to hide who we are. Just like you saying Jamaican, it hides who you really are. I'm sorry, it does. Trinidadian, Jamaican, these are all misnomers.
But you see the stages of the identities, though, right?
Yes. But look where we at. These people, listen. These people, you know, the pale skin, Albion, you know they're dying out, right? You know that. So when they dying out, look how they building all the technology, all these robots. The Matrix told us what they was going to do. The sister Sophia Stewart said, look, what do you think they building all these robots for? To control you, because they dying out. They're going to be the very few. Put it like this. They been the minor. You know what I'm saying? We've been the majority. You understand that? We ain't never been less than. That's why I try to say to you, brother, you know, I get where you coming from, and I get it. It eats me up too when brothers talk about teeth. I'm like, that's, you know, the language. You gotta be careful. That hurts people. And brothers like you come up and like, enough is enough. And I get it. But you know what? My energy.
Watch this though. I can acknowledge, and I was acknowledging a lot of the stuff that Caribbean niggas do say to Black Americans.
Oh, come on, man. That's petty.
I acknowledge that, right? But what's not being told is that when Jamaicans came here in the early 19th centuries, we was trying to assimilate with y'all. We was trying to lockstep with y'all, and y'all did not accept us pretty
That's
well.
not true. Marcus Garvey, you mentioned Marcus Garvey.
But but a lot of people rejected both Marcus Garvey.
No, rejected him more. From the islands rejected him more.
But they didn't. But they didn't accept Malcolm X. But hold on, they barely accepted Minister Farrakhan.
That's not true. Who told you that?
Hold on,
no.
Because hold on.
If that was true, he would never came in second to command when Elijah Muhammad passed.
I'm not talking about NOI itself. I'm talking about Black culture as a whole.
Can I say something? That's not true, because you know what? You're gonna always have people clashing. You're right, but majority of people don't think like that. Because let me say something. Now, you being Jamaican descent, you never had a so-called Black American girlfriend?
What is that?
Did you have a Black American girlfriend? You ever had one?
Yeah.
How you get that?
I don't know. Let's talk to her. Let's talk to her. How you mean?
Yeah,
Let's talk to her. Hey, what's up?
What I'm saying is this. I get where you're coming from, but here's what I'm saying. I won't be bent on that, because listen, man. Listen, I'm in Sheepshead Bay right now. You know where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
I shoot the Flatbush almost every other day to go to a Caribbean restaurant to get something to eat. Why? Because they ain't got nothing out here. At least over there, I get some food with some soul in it. You know what I'm saying? So I like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All I'm trying to say is, brother, listen, man, we bring beauty to each other, man. And I got 2 children, man, that's half Puerto Rican. You think
and even with that now, look at that. Fat Joe's out of line. I'll be honest.
He's not. You know what it is? You gotta understand something. People recognize people's culture. Like, you got I'm sure you've seen the videos where the elders from Jamaica saying how they was listening to the American music, the jockeys and all that, and how they create their own thing called Sky, I think, and then became reggae, whatever.
Reggae,
listen, that's their thing. Regardless of influence, we influence each other, right?
Right.
But they don't want to, the Puerto Ricans don't want to hear how, okay, you talking about drums that came from Cuba, but the Cubans said when we came here, we went to the Black Americans to create what you consider as Afro-Cuban jazz. Later on became Latin jazz, but Mario Bauzo said, no, we know Latin. We not Latin, because he knew it wasn't a people, it was a language. Mm-hmm. But now this brother Colon comes on and says, well, Latin, as if that puts Puerto Ricans into hip hop. And we're saying it don't go like that, because the music genre that you're speaking on is mostly funk, disco, jazz. It's not calypso. It's not, Palana, Burma, what they talking about. But the whole thing is, we don't have nothing against them, but they don't recognize the evolution of the culture. They can't show the evolution.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with reggaeton, right? Reggaeton, a lot of Puerto Ricans don't want to acknowledge that that's from reggae music.
Yeah, but hold up. Reggaeton came from this. It came from the people from the islands going down to the Panama Canal.
Yes.
One of my friends, he's Panamanian, his last name Myers. I said, but you Panamanian? He said, yeah, because my family from Jamaica, one of them islands, went down Panama Canal, got down there. All of a sudden, you got them reggaeton with Spanish, the Latin people down there in Panama, and here comes the Puerto Ricans taking over it. Don't want to get recognition. Do you know the Puerto Ricans in court right now with the Jamaicans? They in the court saying, "Yo, y'all stole our stuff. Don't want to get recognition." How you gonna take reggae and don't give us recognition? Like, what part of the game is that?
They're in court right now for that.
Yeah, I found out they in court. Yeah, find out.
I gotta go look that up.
Yeah, because I'm saying, hold up, why they in court? Because what it is you taking somebody's, that's their genre. How you take somebody's genre and don't give credit where it came from? And then they say,
this is why I tell Jamaicans, like, y'all can't say. This is why I disagree with Busta Rhymes. You can't say that you have something to do with hip hop. You gotta give Black Americans that came before Kool Herc they flowers or their credit and say that Kool Herc Kool Herc may have took elements from Black American culture. And I'm a Jamaican saying that because I'm looking at the facts and what's there. You got to say that Kool Herc took some pieces or elements from Black American culture and made his section of it, or contributed to his section of it.
You know what the problem with that? I'm gonna say something to you. Nobody cared whether Herc was Jamaican or not. People start making that a big thing. Flash, nobody cared. All we knew was Flash.
But this is my point of the show. They're bringing it up. They're bringing it up. Now I'm like, so hold on. Is this an attack of a hip hop star, or is this an attack on Jamaican nigga spirit?
No, it had nothing to do with that. What it is this. The Jamaicans, some of them came out and said, because they said because Kool Herc is Jamaican, hip hop came from Jamaica. Your boy, what's his name? Busta Rhymes said that.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes.
They said,
but Chuck D before Busta Rhymes, Chuck D was coming out.
That was the rumor. Listen, at one time, nobody cared about whether it came from Jamaica or not. But what happened is now the truth is being told. Even Flash, being Bayesian, said this. I got to question Herc because he talking about he extended a beat, but they been extending beats. He just catered to the B-boy who been B-boying. That's Black culture. You've been doing that. So what happened is, listen, you Jamaican, you go to a party right now, you start DJing. Also, you do a certain spin that you create on your own. People go, yo, Wild Brothers did that. Also, somebody come, yeah, he's Jamaican. Jamaica had nothing to do with it. You know, like that's what they trying to say with Herc. Jamaica had nothing to do with it. Even Herc said it. Jamaica had nothing to do with this. When I came here, I was a kid. I was a child. You understand? And people try to say, well, he brung the sound class. He said I wasn't involved with that.
Sound class system.
He said I never was involved with that. He said I got it from the American side. He said, look, I assimilate to Black American culture. Music is music, man. But back then, he said it. The father of hip hop to him was James Brown because that's what they piggyback ride for. You know what I'm saying? When you say I'm Black and I'm proud, that's because that's where the evolution of it came from. Everybody go back to funk. Everybody, Flash, all of them go back to funk. They all say that. So they don't go back to Bob Marley. Not to disrespect Bob Marley, but they don't go back to Tito Puente. What I'm trying to say is we're saying the evolution. And it's not that Black American want pat on the back, just that we know a lot of our stuff been stolen. Because think about this. The brother Truth Teacher, he's Jamaican descent. He always bring up history, how it evolved around each other. People borrow from each other culture, which is beautiful, because that's what happens, right or wrong. Influence. Right. But for us, he always going back to the white man. Like, why you keep the white man didn't create ragtime, jazz. He didn't create none of that. Stop trying to put us, like, it's always put us against the white man. I hate when they do that. Why you put us against the white man? Like, he didn't create none of this genre. As a matter of fact, if we wasn't here, how is people come off a slave boat and have more inventions than him, have more music than him, have more dances than him? Please tell me how that happened. See, as long as you claim you came off a slave boat from Africa, you disown your island. If I claimed I came off a boat from Africa, I disown my heritage. You understand that?
Right.
And I've seen my genealogy. Let me tell you something. I ain't see Kunta Kinte on there at all, or Kizzy. Look at the movie Roots. That's where it started from. They sued him, man. What I'm saying to you, brothers, is this. I get where you come from because it bothers me sometimes when people say things. Because you know why? They online looking at us like, look at these dumb Negro. You know what I'm saying? Like, they so stupid. And meanwhile, they just killed two twins coming out of Boston in some mountain. And you heard about that, right?
No, I did not hear about that. I have to
They
go look.
killed two brothers,
Two
came
twins?
out of Boston, went on a trip. They found them in somewhere in Atlanta and Georgia in the mountains, KKK. Like, really? Listen, you slip up, they don't care where you from. One of my barber is from St. Lucie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember they just had a volcano eruption over there?
Yeah.
That's my man. I was helping him get food and whatnot to send back home and whatnot. They had nothing to do. Oh, I can't help you, man. You coconut, you Yankee. Man, you get caught up in that, you in trouble. That's my boy. He cut my hair. Like, if I don't trust him, I trust him. And you know where he live at now? He said, Malik, I ain't doing New York no more. He's in Georgia right now with his best friend who's Jamaican, who's a retired cop from New York. And let me tell you what he said. He said, Malik, I'm born and raised in Jamaica. I send barrels back home. They robbed me, Malik. My own people robbed me, Malik.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
He hurt.
that's going on too.
He said, yo, I bust my butt. I send it back. And Malik, I go down there like, what happened? They start talking dirty to him. Like, what? You know, like this, what? So he in Georgia now. He hurt. So I'm saying is this, man. We do it to each other. But remember who he's sending it to? People that don't have. So we do things, man. Listen, brother. You worked all your life?
Yeah, still working.
How much success you think that is? Because they say working hard don't get you nowhere. It's working smart, intelligent get you everywhere.
No,
and I believe that too, because you know what?
You got to do all that shit.
You got to
combine. You got to do all that shit. You got to combine.
Think about this, brother. When the people from the islands first was coming here, mostly in the 70s, 80s, it was a rumor they had 2 or 3 jobs. They ain't got that no more.
Yeah, because they did. My pops, the first time he got here, he told me a story how because in Jamaica it rains, so they take off. He did that here and got fired off his first job. But my pops used to work 3 jobs. My mother, she used to work 2 jobs. She used to work at Kingsbrook Hospital, then she worked at St. Vincent.
Yeah.
To the point where her back is, well, she's messed up now with her back and stuff. But yeah, a lot of Caribbean blacks, especially from the boomer generation and Gen X, they came here and they worked, they grinded. That's all they knew.
I would think
that was the mission.
We did all that grind and all that stuff. I would think it's way different because you understand something. Most of my parents, and they was chased out the South from the KKK. The drama was there. Remember, our towns, hear me out, our towns are put underwater. You know that?
Underwater?
Yeah. All our towns are underwater. Nobody know our history, but that's why we look at people and go, are you serious? You don't know the history here. You didn't have KKK on you. You didn't listen.
See, but remember, I said that in the stream earlier that a lot of Jamaicans, you don't understand what a lot of the Black Americans had to go through over here. So when you're coming over here and you say certain things, you got to kind of be careful.
It triggers because you know why? Because the hurt. Listen, I don't know Jamaican history, but if I go to Jamaica and they told me their history, I'm going to respect that.
True.
Because I wouldn't be in Jamaica if it wasn't for you getting me over there.
True.
That's the purpose of civil rights.
But then a lot of blacks will look at it and say, "Oh, y'all not black like us because y'all didn't go to slavery." But hold on,
that's true. Listen. I'm gonna say something to you. I talk to Rastas now. They don't believe none of that no more. They caught up in a Taino lineage. They don't care. That's all because the history is not told by us.
But hold on though. But hold on though. If you look at Haiti and what they fought, and you look at Jamaica and what they fought, they went through a brutal whatever. If you want to call it slavery, whatever you want to call it.
1900, brother. We talking about just happened. It just happened to us.
Just happened, right?
It just happened to us. We talking about 1930s and 40s.
Okay.
We talking about, listen, that close you talking. We're not talking some hundreds a year. We talking about, bro, listen. The first cars, listen to me, the first cars that was created, we had something to do with that. All the listen, the spark plugs come from us. Refrigerator, the stove, all this come from our people. So I'm saying to myself, what kind of slaves was we when we created all this stuff? What kind of slaves are we? But what I'm saying is our towns was burnt down. You hear about Wall Street. That's what you hear about.
No, yeah, they had put a list of all the towns that was.
Listen, they dropped bombs on our towns, man. Yeah. They dropped bombs on our towns. Listen, I got over 20 places that our towns are underwater. This is how much they hide our identity. Every 25 to 30 years, we become something new. Now we FBA.
And then on top of that, they keep playing slave movies in your face.
Yes. And you know what? That get tired at a while.
That's why I liked the new movie Sinners and the Django.
Bro, was that deep?
It was because it showed him fighting them niggas. It didn't show him.
You know what it showed? Culture vultures. Be careful who you let in your house.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
That's why I like the Django too, because the Django. Go ahead.
But look at Jamaica. They got white boys from England. They won the award for the biggest #1 album of the year, the reggae, the white boys in England. I'm like, damn. They take all our stuff, bro. They take all our stuff.
And and what's so crazy about Jamaican people with dancehall? They have their big artists that contributed to the space.
Yeah.
But they don't prop them up. One person, notably, Movado, his voice has changed the landscape of how dancehall reggae is. Remember back in the day, they used to do that fast.
Yeah.
Everybody has slowed their shit down and made it more melody-like. That's because of Movado. Go look him up. It took for Idonia, another artist, maybe 10, 15 years after the fact to go on an interview and acknowledge that. When they could have acknowledged Movado when he first came out and everybody was patenting his style. But so now when you have a white boy now that's getting reggae album of the year, but you have plenty of black talent right there in your face and you didn't acknowledge that.
How about this one? How about this one for you?
But hold on, but see, that's not white people, that's black folks mentality.
No, because remember, if we wasn't as poor, we wouldn't do a lot of stuff. Let me say something to you. They made the king of rock and roll, Elvis.
When you have,
they already picked that from us, right?
When they have James and all of the people.
So
James Brown, my bad.
Hold up. The king of rap now, of hip-hop, rap music, is Eminem. I'm saying y'all can't be serious.
But hold on. But wait though, right? We got to look at it as talent-wise, right?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's not talented, but the dude that came out and said this, if you want to get in the industry, that's one of the things you got to mention, that Eminem is the king. Just like Elvis. They got to keep that white hope there. The dude blew it up. He said, you will find 50, all the rest of them. But this is how you know it's not true. Em even came out and said, I don't believe that. What it is this. If you go to every hood from New York to California and you ask the people, know what they say? Hell no. We wasn't bumping him like that. Yeah, he got talent, but he not Rakim. Y'all trying to make him out to be Rakim? No, he's not on Rakim level. I'm sorry.
No.
Listen, he had talent, but let me say something to you. Still today, Vanilla Ice.
Mm-hmm.
When that track come on, I still boom. Yo, that make me jump more than anything that M ever jumped out there. And that was a white boy. He was right here, doom. Don't that make people go, oh wow?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is this: you give credit where credit's due. Stop trying to make everything we do, the king got to be a white person. Don't do that, because the king of reggae right now is a white dude.
Yeah, this is
it's a white band. I'm sorry, no, they not, because now you're taking away from my people who are on the island. And listen, the struggle. See, I'm not looking at the music. The struggle they had to go through to create that. You understand that?
Yeah.
There was struggle out there for that. Same thing here. We telling people recognize our struggle. Yes, you're gonna have listen. Everybody's not gonna clash. Everybody's not gonna clash. You know what I'm saying? Look, what they got on the internet now. The redheads are the new gender. They're black. Who make up some? Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah. What said that again? The redheads are the new what?
The new gender? Blacks.
Who said that?
Bro, guess what they got on TikTok? And people running with that stuff.
But hold on, but you see what I mean? But did you see what I mean about this the FBA and this shit?
Oh, not FBA. It's everybody running with it. Listen, it's white people running with it. They saying it. Oh, thank you for letting us in. We the new blacks. Yo, I knew I was special because white people was treating me bad because I had red hair.
Yeah, but you gotta fault that on black folks though. Black folks.
I say something to you, brother. America's a melting pot. That's what I can say to you. It's definitely melting. At least one thing. Can I say something to you? Why I think you guys in the islands got a little bit more. It's scary because of this. You wake up every day, the butcher, the baker, everybody look like you. Over here, we don't have that privilege because our community's been divided up. That plays a role on a child's mind. I know a Jamaican girl who's into her cosmetics. She told me, Malik, I ain't gonna lie to you. Till I came here, I didn't know that white prejudice like that. I was walking from the train station one day and the white lady jumped. She said, she was like, wow, like I'm gonna rob you or something. Like she said, I never had that experience.
Yeah, because in Jamaica, I want to say the oppressor. I'm gonna use that word. The oppressor is black faces.
Yeah,
the police that will whoop your ass is a black face.
That's scary because here it is. We know who our oppressor is here, and we know who the imitators are. But in your country, we like, why? You gotta why? And then we found that they selling the beaches off. They burnt down the hotel.
They do.
They burnt the hotel down in Jamaica. Like we can't go there. I was
privatizing the beach. So like
how you do
people
that to the people? And what's that guy? What's that ambassador down there? What's the ambassador governor? What is it?
The Chinese one?
No, the one who run. Yeah, you know, you got these mixed people who don't have the people in man, look here. This is what we're saying. I'm gonna say something, you know, going back to the TV thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was meant for people that come here and go against the people that been here struggling. Like the governor of DC, he's Jamaican American descent, right? Yeah.
Oh, he was the one with the reparation shit.
He denied it. They like, whoa.
Yeah.
Why would you deny that? He don't think people ready. They're like, hold on. Where you from again? Because you're supposed to be for your people no matter what. He like, well, I felt, you know, like,
And I know the FBA niggas gonna eat that.
They did eat it up. But what I'm trying to say is, let me ask you a question. You mean tell me if I go to Jamaica and I know they have a history of struggle trying to get reparations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a so-called American black, let's say, right, FBA. And I get down and become a position and they say, yo, Malik, you believe Jamaicans deserve reparations? No, they don't deserve it. Hell no. Let them work for it.
They're gonna look at it as wrong, yeah.
They look at me like, dude, where you from again? Because you don't share the same struggle. We're not talking about struggle now. We're talking about the history struggle. When your people had to leave fled from the South, bro. Stuff like that. That's
hold on. But see, I'll honestly step out there and say, yo, he shouldn't have anything to say in that. But he's in
a position. They saying that's what T is. They saying he in position, and he could have said, you know what? These people if you knew the history of us here, you wouldn't even go against it. Like, yo, of course I'm assigning because these my family, these my people, no matter what, across the board. But he didn't look at it like that. He looked at it as, what was the purpose you saying no? Did your family chased out the South? Was your family redlining, Civil War, Jim Crow? Did they burn your family towns under town? Listen, we suffer because of finance. Let's be real. We own all the banks at one time. People don't know the history of this country. We own all the banks. Our identities keep getting changed. All the inventions, look up the inventions. It came from our people, man. And we're not talking about just people from North America. He could have been island descent. It didn't matter. He was black to us. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is to you, you know, you don't know the history of these people. You don't go against that. That's why I like the coup that's going on in Africa. They're not playing with it anymore. And what he said, we got to stop this border stuff. We all Africans. I love that, man. We all African. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I forgot his name.
Now, guess what he did? He created a chain reaction. All the rest of the different countries are rebellion now. Get rid of them. Ivory Coast just rebelled because that was the name of the place, Ivory Coast. These are all made up names. Listen, Jamaica, brother, listen to me. Jamaica has a OMB number. It's a corporation. It's a business. And I can tell you the form to go get. And you be like, what? This is a business? And who runs that business? England.
Yeah, the Queen.
Because that was the name of the people.
Or whoever's in charge over there now.
United States is a corporation. Brother, do you know the United States? Let me say something to you. Here go the good part. The original 13 colonies, you hear me? That came from British. Do you know they look like me and you? The Europeans that came and look like me and you. It's documented.
Yeah.
So the original 13 colonies are us too. When people say, oh, the European, they talk about us, our ancestors that came here. The 13 colonies was on north part of America, you know what I'm saying, from Massachusetts, New York, all the way down to Georgia. That was considered at the United States. But what was the name of the rest of the land called? Turtle Island.
But let me ask you a question now with the idea of reparations. How do you quantify that if you go back in time and you can find that you had niggas that own other niggas too?
You want to know something? It wasn't like that when I seen the books. It was indentured servitude. That's what it was. Because the word plantation had nothing to do with slavery. Plantation means that you grew like fruits, vegetables, you know, like a wine yard. Plantation had nothing to do with it. These people lied. Let me tell you something. A free white person was considered people of first class. We are free white people. You know that?
But
It's
see
a
now,
status.
this is where, but you do know that this is where you and the FBA might get into an argument because they're gonna
I don't
say
matter because you
that.
know what? He
Hold
still
on, but
quotes
wait,
all black.
but hold on. They're gonna say that goes against the narrative that they're trying to push to get the
No, that's
reparations.
not true. They know it already because even Nasheed, Tariq Nasheed mentioned his indigenous side too. He always mentioned that. So what I'm saying is,
No,
yes,
but
people.
what I'm saying is that if you had blacks that were the originals here, right? And
Yeah.
then the idea behind FBA is that you had slavery that took place in America and they need reparations from
So
that.
some people
If
listen. It's a lot of stories. It's a lot of stories out there that slavery. But you know what the funny part is? Again, how is we coming off slave boats and we created all the inventions, all the music, all the dances? How? What kind of slave? Hold on. What's the white culture then? If we did all the music and all that, what's their culture? Can you tell me their culture? Where's
But
their
hold on
culture?
though. So let me ask you a question. So why don't y'all make reparations about say situations like Wall Street or
That's what it's all about. That's what it's really
okay,
about.
okay. Because
It's really for a fact.
y'all can't really use slavery to quantify it
Because you
because
know what's gonna happen? Want me to tell you what's gonna happen?
what's gonna happen?
Nobody gonna get pinpoint they came out of Africa off a slave boat because that's where the shit vanishes at. It vanishes right
Because
there.
the reason why they can track the small hats is because they were branded. They
Who
had
who was branded?
the what you call it, the Jews over when that thing happened to them in Nazi Germany.
That's way different, bro. That's not what
Yeah,
we
but hold
talking.
on, I'm saying the reason why they were able to get their reparations from Germany is because a lot of their families they were branded and tracked. They were like they had
The system is different. The system is way different.
uh,
You talking about 15, 1600. Totally different from 1940 and 50. Totally different. Okay. But my thing is this, right? It was like one time we didn't have internet, right?
mhm,
One time we didn't have no phones, right or wrong.
true.
We was more creative without the phones and the internet. What were we doing? Creating games and all that outside, right or wrong? All that died out, right or wrong.
That died out, yeah.
So the kids not creative as the ones before. What are they? Are they considered? I don't know.
What we talking about? The ones before what?
The children now, they different than the ones back then. They don't have time to do all that street games no more.
No, yeah, they inside. I
They
mean,
inside.
the creativity is there. It's just being used in this modern medium you're on
Yeah,
right now.
Matrix, the
So,
metaverse.
so
You know
now,
about the metaverse, right?
so now where now because of the environment, their creativity might have been okay. I'm gonna build a bike from scratch. On a computer, they might build an AI program from scratch, and they might build some kind of software or hardware from scratch
You're right.
for the
And you know
mod.
what? That's using the mindset, right or wrong.
Right,
But,
mindset.
but most of them don't have it. But most of them don't have the craft to build anything.
That's true.
Most of them don't know how a car really run. Masonry, they don't plumbing. This is stuff we lost as a craft that kept our society going. Now most you see a lot of Mexicans doing it. Now Trump
Yeah, that one
that flipped
that
on us.
that
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 flipped they
hurt
flipped on us.
that hurt me right there because
It did.
I have my stuff in construction, but it's hard for me to get into that
Why?
industry.
Because you know why? It was this what happened to us. It was done by design. Because we know you had to come from Jamaica building a house and everything. That's mandatory. That's carpentry, right or wrong. What
That's
do you think the
carpenter.
Southerners came up north with? They came with that. But what happened was they wasn't giving out jobs. When we became subject, that's when we started losing everything. We lost. Remember, that integrating messed us up. We had our own schools, our own bus lines. That
So
messed us up.
you agree with that? You agree that integration kind of
Messed us up. It messed us
yeah.
up, man.
Well,
Because even Martin Luther King, if you listen to the last speeches, he said this: I feared that bringing my people into a burning house.
you
He
know that
did.
you know that he was a communist, right?
Brother, yeah, him. Listen, a lot of them was that, but
A
the
lot
whole
of
thing is,
a
huh?
lot of them like a lot of them in that pro black in that pro black. I did a YouTube video called the Serafina virus where I broke down how a lot of black women got bit by that feminist bug, and
Yeah,
they
we
were in
learning
a lot of
now.
your pro black circles. They were infiltrating a lot of your circles, and I remember going into in my 20s when I used to go to Harlem. I said,
Yeah,
"Yo, something is wrong with these women right here. Nobody
yeah,
see it because they would speak. I didn't know what Marxism was at that time, but I knew that there was. I knew that it was something. Yo, there's something wrong with this chick because at one point she's speaking, "I love black men," but in the next moment
She flipped.
But most of them is 304. Most of them is 304s over in a lot of those circles. A lot of them chicks that be in the Kundalini energy and shit, all of that stuff. A lot of them be 304s in there. Let's be honest about it. But a lot of them, huh?
But they learning now that was a mistake.
Yeah.
You cannot separate man, woman, and child. That's how you build a nation.
Yeah, but that's how a lot of them got into the. A lot of them are preaching Marxism.
Yeah,
a lot
most of them are dying out. That's dying out now because they realize that so-called white man treat the black man, woman, and child the same way. Listen, if you got any children?
No, not yet.
Let me say something. If you got like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old going to school, them so-called white cops who drive down the block and will hurt one of them like he hurting a grown man. They look at us as different because we're a threat. Mm-hmm. They shooting us down like we're a threat. Most of our crimes come from poverty. They did a scientific thing on a study on it. They said most of black people in America, even in the islands, poverty. If you have black people controlling the islands, own how nice homes and own all the business on it, you will see less crime. Because they found out all that was happening in Massachusetts. A lot of poor white Irish, a lot of crime was there. They understand like, oh, poverty plays a big role. You understand? So they kept our people poverty. This is why in the coup in Africa, that brother there, Torre, whatever his name is, he said enough is enough. Why we got look the way we look, crime and all that, because we don't have it. More of the diamonds and minerals getting taken out of here. Everybody living luxurious. So he decided to flip, and 3 other countries flipped. Same thing here. I told brothers and sisters, do your family genealogy, parent by parent. By the time you get to your 4th, 5th grade parent, you'll find what tribe you come from. I thought my family was Cherokee. Come to find out they was Muskogee and Choctaw. You know what I'm saying? And then the Jenkins, which was Gully Geechee, some of them came out of Barbados. So I said, no, that was in the Gully Wars. They was pushing to the islands. You understand? Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to say is we all family because you got old maps that say the Caribbean, West Indies, some of that's considered as Florida and North Carolina and Louisiana. Mm. Because Louisiana is French. But there wasn't pale skin French. They was dark skinned melanated French from France because France came out not too long ago and said the original French people was a melanated skin of swarthy complexion. Mm. We are indigenous all over the earth. We just fell. When we fell, that's when they took about. Because I'm going to tell you something. In the Civil War, if you look at the Civil War from 1861, 1865, you will see that they was wearing fezzes on their head. They'll never show that part. Mm. And who wear fezzes?
No.
Hold up. If that's true, why these so-called black Masons and white Masons run around? They don't know who the Moors are. How dare you wear a dress? You know that's a woman dress.
That's true. But hold on, but you see a lot of the cats in Hollywood doing that. Therese was wearing a dress on Shannon Sharp, but Cats was like, nah, he's wearing a Muslim garb. I'm like, come on, bro. That's the whole dress. He had on slippers and shit. I'm like, come on.
Bro, they getting out. Listen, if you notice, a lot of our people being in that industry are being forced into that dress mode. They just had.
You think that's forced?
Your boy Future, right? Mm. Listen, that is a ritual to come in there. They control you to keep that money.
Oh, you watching that Diddy shit, man?
Listen, he might be a freak, but he ain't do no goddamn what they call. They charging him with, they charging with what they call that stuff. You taking people, what they call this stuff?
Trafficking.
Yeah, he ain't. Come on, stop it. He might be a freak, but ain't no trafficking. You know what? You know what the signs of trafficking is, brother. You ain't trafficking nobody from New Jersey to Brooklyn. Like, really? And keep him in a dungeon somewhere. Them Chinese doing all that. That's trafficking.
But my thing with Diddy, bro, he's been a whole menace in hip-hop.
Money, listen, if you're not smart with money, it does it to everybody. They admitted that. They say, look, with money, if you ain't got discipline, you will go bonkers. You understand that?
Yeah, but Diddy's a different case, bro. That's a whole... That's a whole terrorist to hip-hop.
But he should not be getting charged with what they charging with, and it don't fit the crime. So? Sorry, because all you hear is him being a freak most of the time.
That's true.
And egotistic. As far as him, listen, you can't get hit with conspiracy by yourself. You know that, right?
That's true.
That's a lot.
And I was trying to find some sympathy for Cassie, but as I heard the case go on, I'm like,
she could have left. She could have left, bro.
She still don't deserve to get her ass whooped in the hotel.
No. Can I tell you something? Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, in that sick world, that's what happened. Listen, after he beat your butt, how many times? Why you kept coming back, man?
Yeah, but Diddy was
Why you
a
kept coming
powerful
back?
nigga though. Diddy was a
No, what?
powerful.
You
Y'all
get order
niggas don't
protection,
know.
he ain't that powerful. Listen, order protection, you ain't that powerful. It took that camera to say, order protection, what he gave her, 30 million?
Yeah, he gave it 30 million. That's the other
You
one.
know why? I'm gonna tell you why I have sympathy for him, he's my brother. But let me tell you why I don't have sympathy for guys like that. All
What's
that
that?
finance, you can help build your black community
That's
up
what
now.
I'm saying.
Stop it.
That's
They
what I'm
don't do it.
saying.
They're not allowed to. Listen, they are not allowed to, man. Look at Chris Brown. Just got locked up in England for some old stuff that popped up. No, you mean tell me people you travel with didn't tell you, yo, Chris, you got warrants out here, son. Be careful.
He
That didn't
got
tell this
locked
man
up.
that
He got locked up
in
in England.
England. Somebody bust a ball, somebody had, hold on. It was
Shit.
old too. Why would y'all, man? It's so, listen, bro. It's so sick. You in trouble with these people. All I'm saying is, if you're conscious, you get your hands on some finance like that, build with your people, man. But somehow people are afraid. My thing is, I tell people, do your genealogy. When you do your genealogy, see, ours is well documented here. I talked to my boy from Jamaica. He said, Malik, I can't find out. I said, your stuff most likely in England somewhere.
Sure.
So we have our documents still here. When you go down to DC and those archive records, you'll see all our records there, who we are. And you know what? A lot of them people, when you go back to their background, some of them come out the islands, but they're still classified as Negroes. You understand? He wasn't classified as West Indian. No, they might say, "Oh, he came from Barbados," like Prince Hall. You're talking about, right?
Yeah, Prince Hall. Yeah.
But he's considered a black man here.
Still considered. He's considered a black American.
That's right. But when you lineage, what I'm saying is we are all the same. When you read certain books, it changes your mind. This book right here, "When Rocks Cry" by Horace Butler. This book here, this will tell you how long we've been here. You know what I'm saying? Books like this, Ancient America. America is the true old world. Remember, they got Grand Canyon, they got pyramids down there and everything. We have more pyramids here in Americas than over there in Africa. You know that?
That's what I'm
And
hearing.
they found out this too. We found this out. A lot of those mummies came from over here. They just put them over there. Ain't that something?
That's crazy.
Listen, we are the ancient ones. It's just that they got to run the slave story because then you won't identify the land. Because once you identify, I'm from Africa, I come on a slave boat, you give up everything over here, all bets off. Why are we the only ones that say, I'm West Indian, I'm Jamaican, I'm Trini? Hold up, you're American. You know what I'm saying? That's the American. Columbus came here, he came to the Americas. And he got a good part for you. Juan Colon was a melanated brother. He was a Morano. A Morano shortened for Morano. He was of swarthy complexion. So was the Nino brothers who brought him over, who owned the shipping company. All these are dark-skinned people. These are not pale-skinned people at all. They lied. And it's documented. Washington, let me ask you a question. They say George Washington owned slaves, right? How many Washingtons you came across that so-called white people are? They mostly black?
So you're saying there's more
That's
than
how
one
you know who
Washington?
we are. Yeah, that's how you know who we are. It's a lie, brother. Listen, it wasn't for us, none of this, but they got to dismantle us from. I talked to Africans. They told me I never heard of slave stuff till I came over here. I said, I know you didn't. I know. We know.
Yeah, but see the beef with FBA and the West Africans over there, they're saying that a lot of them contributed to the slave trade.
That's a lie too. That's a lie. I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie.
Okay.
That's a lie because here's the catch. Who was slaving us? White people? Because they wasn't in power back then. So
yeah,
that's
but then you would have to explain the slave trades that went on between Western Africa and Portugal into the islands, and then
Listen,
you have
we're
to
not
explain
saying
it.
it didn't exist, but we was enslaving each other too. But what I'm trying to say is this, brother. If you know that Christopher Columbus did not discover the American, then it started off with a lie with that alone. Then they said, you brought over 100 million Africans, 100 million? You know what 100 million would do to a place? There would be nobody in the Caribbean at all.
True.
You know what 100 million would do to you? Hold up. You bring us on slave boats. Here go the funny part. And they always show a picture of one slave boat, right or wrong. The same picture over and over and over and over. I thought slave boats, nah, because it's a lie, brother. you know what? I don't argue with nobody about whether slavery is this or not. All I can say is this: when you connect to that slave boat and you came out of Africa, you give your whole lineage. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But what we guarantee they did this. We guarantee we own more. We own more. We own over 50,000 land patents. 50. Hold up. What kind of slaves are us? All the music genre was created by us. People that look like me and you. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Here go another thing too. If that's true, how are the music and the dances come from us? Ain't this a white culture? Where y'all stuff at? The Lindy Hop and all that come from us. Why ain't so-called white people creating the ragtime blues? Where's all this at? You don't see it in their culture. You don't see funk in England and all that. Stop lying. You don't get that simple stuff. And my Puerto Rican brothers, I have love for them. Like I said, my children's mother's Puerto Rican. But I'm not going to sit here and let you lie on my people and lie about our lineage. We know our history. Know your history. Speak on your history. And I'll speak on my history. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to tell me you was there from the beginning. So was the roaches and the mice. Mm. You mean if I go to Jamaica right now and they doing what's the popular one? Reggae or dancehall?
Dancehall reggae.
If I go to right now, Jamaica right now with my children and they so-called FBA Black American, we get over there. My kids grew up in that culture. They're gonna assimilate into that culture, are they not?
That's true.
They're gonna pick up the slang, they're gonna pick up the patois, and they might pick up the music and they might start dancing like them. But then let's say they become DJ and they spin on something, do something different that the other ones ain't doing. Are they gonna say, see, that come from Black American? That's the same thing they did with Herc.
That's true.
Same thing they did with Herc and Bam and them. Bam, they never said it came from Jamaica.
That's what I'm saying. Like, from my recollection, the first time I heard that I heard that from Chuck D.
Because everybody was told that. But you know what? Black America never had a problem with that. You understand that? But we found out that was not true because when Herc started speaking, if you consider him the father, but how you the father and you was never b-boying? You just extending the beat. And who was you extending? James Brown. Wasn't no reggae none of that because they didn't hear none of that back then.
Yeah.
So it was you was spinning Black American music. And they was dancing to the music, imitating James Brown and all that, doing the Lindy Hop. They don't come from your culture. But what it is they class. You know why they made him the father? Because he catered to the B-boys. You get it? He catered to the B-boys. It's like somebody come to your house and you doing hip hop and you cater to the B-boy. And they say, yo, this the man. This the one we want to be called the man. You know what I'm saying? That's how he got the reputation. He didn't bring them from culture. He just got the reputation because he catered to the B-boy.
He catered to our audience.
Thank you.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Uncle Luke, right? They saying that because Uncle Luke did with the Freaknik and whatever, that because of his Caribbean roots, he brought that into Black American culture. And I'm saying, but Uncle Luke is just catering to y'all.
Listen,
he's just catering to what's already there.
Uncle Luke might have came as a baby. What you bring? Did you bring? First of all, if you say you bring your culture, what came from your culture?
And Uncle Luke, nobody knew what Uncle Luke's lineage was. I don't even think he said what his lineage was.
No, at one time, all we knew was from Florida boys.
For Two Live Crew.
All we knew was Florida boys.
Yeah.
Pop that Coochie. Pop what? They were doing that.
Mind you, this is FBA saying, okay, well, Uncle Luke, you brought it. Nah, he's just facilitating.
He don't listen.
What's already in your culture?
Those are people. You ready for this? Those are people that's not living in Florida saying that. They're not from Florida because Florida. Listen, a Florida FBA wouldn't say that. He would know better what Luke brought down there, right or wrong. Listen, you can't talk West Coast culture if you're not from the West Coast.
Second. Long, if you were saying earlier in the show, I addressed that. We addressed it now. We going through the floor right now, but you wasn't here earlier. But yeah, like the whole point of the show was to address some of that stuff and to point out, but hold on, like look, this is what was already there in your culture. Gangbanging was there, dope was there, debauchery was there. You can't blame this on Jamaican niggas.
Everybody had that culture. They had gangbanging in the islands.
They had gangbanging in the islands. Yeah, but you can't say, because remember, but at one point y'all wasn't even allowed. Y'all was gatekeeping at one point.
Who gatekeeping what?
Gatekeeping with Jamaican niggas at one point. Remember?
Who's gatekeeping?
Black Americans with
How they
Jamaicans.
gatekeeping what? You can't gatekeep something you don't control.
Oh, say that
Bro,
again.
you can't gatekeep something that you don't control. So
Say
how you
that again.
gatekeeping?
That's what I'm
So
saying.
so what was Black American gatekeeping if they didn't control it?
There was like we call it civil rights movement. You would
That's not
hear,
gatekeeping because that's for everybody. Civil rights for everybody. Because
yeah, but you hear them talking like it was only meant for Black Americans, or not
no, at
really
that
for.
time it was meant for people that had rights. It wasn't. Listen, it was. You know what that march was for? It was to get rid of Jim Crow,
Yeah,
the water fountain stuff. That listen, if you came over from Jamaica back then, you was not drinking out of white water fountain. All right.
yeah.
So it was
And
for
you had a lot of Caribbean cats marching with them.
thank you. What's the name? The main one. What's the name? He came from
Harry Belafonte.
no, not just him. There's another one. Shelly Chisholm. She's Jamaican. Another one Jamaican too. The one. What's his name? He really stopped Carmichael. He's Jamaican.
Who
Stokely
says that?
Carmichael. Stokely
Stokely
Carmichael.
Carmichael.
Yeah, he's Jamaican.
Stokely
Stokely Carmichael. Yeah, I think. Yeah. See, yeah. Tell me if that's it. Yeah, Stokely Carmichael. He's Jamaican. You can Google that. He was good too. He was into listen. He was in all that stuff.
Jamaican. Oh shit. He was born Trinidad and Tobago. Okay,
There you go.
He was
There you
Trinidadian.
go. So we didn't respect him? Are you serious? Come on, bro. He's 1 hour. Listen, he was for the rights.
Hold on. Let me share it right now.
Yeah, he from Port of Spain, Trinidad. Is he a teether?
There we go.
Was he a teether? No.
But hold on. See, you gotta say this not to me. You gotta say this to FBA.
They know this. Listen, ignorance of history is your fault. That's your fault. You don't know this stuff. I'm sorry. I can't teach everybody. I do teach, but you see this man here, he well respected, right or wrong.
They bring his. I'm now remembering the name. Stokely Carmichael.
So what I'm saying is, but he was for the people here. That's why they didn't call him a teether. Malcolm X was half. They didn't call him a teether. You know what I'm saying? Farrakhan is fully. They didn't call him a teether. Why? He was for the people here. He was for the cause. People that's not for the cause, they consider as teethers.
In civil rights. Civil rights movement. No, because when Caribbean blacks will say, let me see this. Because a lot of Caribbean blacks, when they come here, they're more capitalist or they're more conservative.
Look where they're coming from. They coming to get that finance.
So now Black Americans is looking at it as like, okay, cool, you're not trying to struggle like us. And the Caribbean blacks is like, no, I'm not trying to like struggle like, yeah, I'm trying to get to the bag.
Yeah.
And it's like Black Americans is not looking at it like that. They're looking at it, y'all need to be struggling like us.
And it's true, a lot of them not looking at it, but understand this. We've been had the bag, but the bag costs, and that's why a lot of Black Americans say, nah, it gives reparation. We tired of playing these games. We've been had the bag. Look at the richness of Black American compared to the richness of Jamaica. Who you think are the stars, rappers and all that? Y'all got reggae, y'all got dancehall. Tell me the highest paid dancehall reggae artist right now. Is it Verb Cartel?
I think it's Vibes Cartel right now between him and Movado. Yeah.
Yeah, you think he touching
No, he not touching Jay-Z, no. He not touching
not Jay-Z. I'm talking about even your boy, what's the name that locked up? Chris Brown.
Chris Brown? No, he not touching Chris Brown.
What I'm trying to say is, this is what I'm trying to say. We've been had the bag. That's not what we're arguing about no more. We're not arguing about houses and cars and all that. We already been there already. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the way you keep the system going where we can't really enjoy it. You know, I could be a multi-billionaire and let my son drive a car, police stop him at the light and blow his damn brains out. Am I lying?
That's true.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about things like that now. We're not talking about job. We bypass that. We already know.
So what you're talking about is getting something like what the Asians got with what did Joe Biden pass for them again? For the Asian community?
Stuff like that.
Like an
Ain't that something?
Yeah, that's crazy. But
Yeah, he passed that
black people still ride for Joe Biden, and he passed a whole bill for them.
because remember one thing, we have people here like in the islands that go against each other for these people that's being paid off. Remember, we have black boule here, black
So
sororities. You understand that? People that
look
go
at this,
against us, man.
look at this
Am
right
I
here.
right?
I don't know if you can see this right here. This is from Black Demographics right here. So you have Ghanaian, Nigerian, Jamaican at 72, African 66, and then Black African American at right here.
What's that?
This is from blackdemographics.com. This is like U.S. household income by race, ethnicity, or ancestry.
You know
So,
this?
so
How do black Americans get on the bottom of that? Please tell me how.
yeah,
Because we don't want to work. It's done by design.
Hmm.
Because
But
the bottom line,
hold on though, because every time you push to Black Americans to get to the paper or the bag, it's like they give you this whole this poor Negro spiritual shit. Like money is not
no,
everything.
we
Or
don't look at it like that. It's that they're not allowed to come and help their people out. That's documented. Chris Brown, Ja Rule and them, and Oprah and them. How you building schools in Africa? You come from the hood.
that's
Because you're
true.
not allowed to come help your people out. You are not allowed. Oprah, you from Chicago. All that money, you mean tell me you can't do something? Ja Rule, you
True.
from Queens. You building a school in Africa? Bro, nah, bro. And
Yeah,
let me say
that
something to you.
that's yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Now, Bob Cartel, what's his name, right? If I'm saying his name
Mm-hmm.
right. What do he do in Jamaica with all that money?
Well,
Don't tell me give out little gifts and all that. They've been doing that. What do he do in Jamaica specifically that build the economy up for the poor people that come from where he come from?
he did come up with with a rum factory. So he had a factory of rum and he's employing people. But
He got
yeah,
partners in that, bro.
yeah.
That's not what I'm see. What I'm saying is they're limited with the money because most of the people in Jamaica are crying about these foreigners come taking their land, owning, privatizing the beach. He not doing that. He's not stopping that, and that's what I'm talking about. We have the same problem here. And let me say something to you. The reason why we really marginalized here because the land belonged to us, because we are the indigenous. If we wake up and we go out there land patents on it, you be like, wow. When we start getting that back, it's a problem. That's why we're the biggest threat here. See, if you're a threat, you know what they do to you, right? Even though you're born here, they send you back to Jamaica. This is what Trump trying to pull. You know that, right?
That's what he's trying to pull.
That's the 14th Amendment. Remember we went after the 14th Amendment?
But the 14th Amendment, yeah.
What do you think that was for? You can't drop no babies off. If your mother and father from the islands here, and you do, man, they shipping all y'all back home. This is what he trying to do. Remember, he got rid of all the dark-skinned, brown-skinned people back to Jamaica, back to Colombia. He only shipped in a bunch of white people from South Africa.
That's crazy.
Come on, bro. Hold up. These are the colonizers that took over the land down there. Now they claiming they getting hurt and stuff. Oh, yo, come save us. Elon Musk is from South Africa. You know that.
Yeah.
That's where the power came from. Ship all the white folks up here. And now the white folks over here going, hold up. We losing our jobs up here, our farm, and you bringing these people over? Yo, they listen.
So the white people up here mad that he bringing up white people.
Yeah, because
all right, I'll clap for that. Yeah. All right, cool. Because I was about to say if y'all agree with that, but y'all was cool with Trump kicking.
Nah, they mad, bro. Look, you got time to research. They mad as hell. And guess what? You know who giving us all this stuff, brother?
Who's that?
If you know, most of those medias are owned by African people doing it now. They mostly Africans. I love that, man.
Doing what?
Little medias and stuff like this podcast now. They bring all that news. How white people crying, Spanish people, how Latinos was voting for Trump, and now, like, we are now. Getting deported. See, those are teethers. You vote against your very own interest. That's a teether.
But then, hold on though. But what was the alternative? Kamala Harris.
They want to vote for a black woman called Kamala Harris. That's the bottom line.
But come on, Kamala Harris.
Prejudice. Me and you might have a different thing, but they was prejudiced against her. You understand that?
Yeah, but Kamala Harris was not, whether she was black, white, or whatsoever.
Okay, but she was Jamaican descent too.
But she wasn't. But hold on, but she wasn't Black American. Remember that?
It didn't matter. It didn't. Most of Black Americans voted for it. It didn't matter. Most Black Americans.
Yeah, but hold on though. But was Kamala Harris suited for that position though?
Say that again.
Was Kamala Harris suited for that position though?
What position?
Was she suited to be president?
Can I say something to you, brother? Let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
I don't know if she's sued or not because I don't know her personally, right?
But hold on, because now let me tell you something. If she was voted into power and then she had to go sit before Zelensky with remember that little squabble him and the little back and forth with him and Trump? Listen, let me tell you something. If Trump didn't become president, all them sharks that was in the water, America would have been done.
But it is done already. It's done. We know that already. Listen, why you think we must pull? Why you think Black Americans said we doing FBA thing? Because we know already America's falling. But we got to stay. See what it is? It's not saying hate the Jamaicans, hate the island people. What we're saying is get y'all stuff together because this thing about to fall. And let me say something to you. The way Trump acting, he might send you back to Jamaica, no matter if you born and raised here. Your mother and father from Jamaica, you going back with them. That's what they say. FBA, you gotta come together more because you can't afford this stuff because it's gonna be crunch time soon. Look, that dude, that white cop that killed George Floyd, they trying to let him out of jail. You know that? Bro, what's that telling you? Don't matter. They trying to let him out of jail. So people march all over the world for that. And they gonna let this dude out of jail? You put your foot in this dude's neck. Now you got 4 black cops down Louisiana somewhere, beat up a brother, killed them. They let them go. They let them go. Because all white jury.
But those was brothers though.
Yeah,
Can
but
we
what that
acknowledge
telling
that?
you? It's the same mentality those cops in Jamaica.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
It's the same mentality. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying to you is we all have issues, but that comes from poverty. Because when you come amongst our middle class Jamaicans, Black American, FBA, whatever, you don't see a lot of that stuff, man.
Yeah, but then my thing with FBA, they get mad at Caribbean blacks for being elitist, but you have FBA who have the same elitist mindset.
What do you mean leaders? What do you mean leaders?
I mean, like they have like a more like a mentality where like I'm better than you or like above you up here.
Who has that? The FBA?
Yeah, you have FBA that are on a class, like say, I don't know if you're familiar with Anton Daniels or the Angry Man, where they kind of talk like, yo, I'm on this level.
Something? Can I tell you what you hear? I'm gonna tell you what you hear. What you hear is the people who stuff been so much stolen that you got to big up yourself. And it seems like you down to other people, but they'll use a person Caribbean like that DC governor who denied that bill, that reparation bill. That's what they're afraid of, Black American. Like, see, you get in a position and you don't look at the people here because you're not connected to the people, so you have no problem to veto in the bill. Like, would you do that to Jamaicans? Did that if you were Jamaican? You wouldn't have did that.
No.
Because Jamaicans be mad at him like, yo, what? Let me bummer clouds here be?
Yeah.
What? Why would you deny it? And then they saying, oh, this that teether stuff. That's why I see it being meant. Oh, you a teether, huh? You going against everything we about. You know we struggle here. You wouldn't be here wasn't for us, the civil rights and all that stuff, passing those bills. You wouldn't, do you understand what we was on front line getting ate up by dogs and all that, coming up missing, Black Panther coming out. We was part of all that. But some of those people was from the islands too. Like the show you stole my car, Michael.
That's what I'm saying. Like
nobody better. It ain't nobody better. It's just that we protecting the culture. You protect that Jamaican culture to the full. If you don't, them people from England will have it. Believe me, they're gonna take it because they don't have a culture like that, and they'll take it from you because they ask the people in England what kind of problem they got over there. And some of them Jamaicans tell the truth over there. They prejudice a little different. It's not like out in your front, in your face. You know what I mean? See, our prejudice here is in our face. It shows. You stop at a red light. Listen, you go down south from New York and get stopped on that red light, and that redneck get out that car. You make the wrong move, he'll blow your brains out. Because all you see is this. And that's what we're saying. We still ain't getting past that because they've been doing to it. Remember, we got a book called 100 Years of Lynching. You ever seen that book?
No, I haven't read that book.
Bro, you know how many people they lynched on us, man? They took our land, our farm, Black Wall Street. Are you serious? Over 50, 100 towns put underwater. We're home. Now something we come up for boats? No, I ain't come up no boat. You know what I'm saying? People say, well, I'm from the islands. Well, we got Staten Island. Manhattan's an island.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? See, when you know geography, you know your history. Nobody can tell you your history. Somebody want to argue that they was a slave, then that's what you be then. That's your mentality. I'm sorry, I can't change that. I think a brother like you got a lot of credentials, man, because I see where you come from. And I have the same beef you got. If you feel that way, man, as coming from what they consider FBA, because my roots from the South, I apologize for that, brother. But I don't think they meant it like that. I think it's meant by, saying that, hey, you come over here and you go against the grain, knowing we have a struggle here. But if you're not going against the grain, look at Star Carmichael. Was he considered a teether? He went against the grain hard body. Farrakhan too.
A lot of Caribbeans put their neck on the line.
Yes, but they wasn't considered as teethers.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I've heard them called Mr. Farrakhan. What I've noticed is anytime whether it's a Black American, whatever, and they're holding Black folks to a standard. Because right now, Black folks is following debauchery right now, sexy res and all that. So anytime a brother get on YouTube and say, "Hey, yo,"
no, they condemning that, brother. They condemning that all over the place. That
y'all need to stop gangbanging. Or yo, sisters, y'all need to close your legs. Remember, that's why Black people
coming out now. No, that's coming out now because they know. Okay, brother, sorry.
That's why they turned on Bill Cosby.
Listen, because they took away a lot of stuff from us, so we won't have the diversity to say, yo, I'm gonna look at this instead of this. Like if we had sex.
Remember Queen Latifah was a whole conscious.
Hold up, they killed that. How they killed the conscious movement? They went to what? Gangster rap, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know how to play the game, bro. They not, but that all come from poverty. Remember the rappers back in the day, they spoke on our conditions, did they not?
They did.
What happened to all that? They can't speak on that no more because they get blackballed. Why is that? Just like in Jamaica, you won't be saying no Bati Boy in them songs no more.
Nah,
no, you won't.
You get a fine for that.
Hold up. How? Jamaica's not Bati Boy, so why you gotta get a fine? Because that's how much power they hold. Let's be real. And over here, listen, Francis Crescent, ISIS Papers. You ever read that?
I'm reading that now. I'm gonna read that.
Okay, she told about how they're gonna try to change us from being masculine to feminine. She said all that because this is what we're dealing with. Because when I fear you, I gotta break you down. You gotta wear a dress. All that's done by design. Everything done by from Jamaica here. Listen, when I first back in the days in the 70s, I started seeing a lot of Jamaicans coming up, man. I respect them, but I felt they had that charisma and all that. But I didn't know when a roster told me, Malik, they Christian out, Malik. I'm like, what? I thought in my mind, I thought Jamaican people didn't eat pork at one time.
So back in those times, yeah. So you gotta understand, like the Rastafarian community in those times, they were a minority group. So most of Jamaica, they didn't really accept them like that. So they were mainly Christian or mainly conservative. But
you know what? You don't know that until you know.
Even though the Rastafarian community may disagree with that, they still have some semblance of structure and discipline.
I thought it was their culture. I thought it was all Jamaican culture until my friend Rohan, who was Jamaican, he went to sleep. He had locks. His grandma chopped them off.
Cut his locks off, yeah. But also, because at one time, Rastafarian community was looked at as something.
I see you. All right. Yeah, brother. What I'm saying is this,
I'm gonna say this final
thing you talking about.
I'm gonna say this final thing, and then it's going on 3 hours. I'm gonna say this final thing, and then I gotta go. But I thank you for the discussion.
You do other shows like this?
Yeah, anytime there's a topic that I can speak on, I get up and I speak on it, and then I speak mainly on like the dynamic going on in America, especially when it comes to relationships and shit. Or I might play video games on that day. It's whatever I'm feeling. But but this topic I had to speak on it.
I hear you, man. Get it off your chest, right?
Yeah, get it off my chest. But shout out to Malik Bey. Thank you for coming on the stream.
Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, you gonna see me again, man. I'm gonna show support, man. I can subscribe to your channel, right?
Yes, you can.
All right, brother. Yo, I appreciate you having me on, man. Listen, don't hurt the FBA too hard, man. Come on, man.
I'm not trying to. I gotta give it back, right? So, but
like I said, I don't believe our people are not biased and prejudiced against anybody else. I think it's like I said, it's people that come over and have a whole new demeanor of who we are and they go against the grain, that's why I consider as a teether. Not somebody because they came from Jamaica or came from Africa. I don't believe that part, man. Maybe you got a few in there that might say that, but I don't believe that, brother.
Okay.
I'm gonna say peace. Thank you anyway, brother.
Peace, peace. All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, brother. Peace.
Anyway, this is Kiss Shorty Gamer Nation. Conversation was interesting. Thank you to the brother for coming up. Again, my point of the show was to really correct a lot of the lies that was being told on Caribbean blacks. And, because at the end of the day, you can't have lies being said out there. Because what Michael Jackson say, a lie told long enough becomes the truth. Right? And like I said, social media, this is the new influence. It's the new thing. You go to the movie theaters, people watching their phone. You go to eat, you go to the toilet, people watching their phone. So it's the new thing. So, I got to come up here because I'm the only one checking it. You know what I'm saying? So I got to come up here and say something to it. But anyway, this is Kiss Shorty Gamer Nation. Like, share, and subscribe. You're going to see more content from me, whether it's playing video games or I'm getting something off my chest or it's topics I see going on the internet or it's, goofy black women, whether they're Jamaican black women or black American women. Because I check Jamaican women too, bro. Like, to be honest with you, Caribbean black women is the same shit as black American women. I just think Caribbean black women are more colder. So y'all gotta be careful. Y'all black American men gotta be careful when y'all saying, I'm gonna go get me a Caribbean black chick. You're a lot more colder. But anyway, this is Kiss Shorty Gamer Nation. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.